Obsessed with speed. That's how you can define most race fans. Speed, sound, smells. Racing is a sensory experience at its core. There's only a few places in America where the obsession of speed and the fear of it can be mixed together. Indianapolis and Daytona come to mind. But when you fire up nearly 30 IndyCar open-wheelers and send them sailing around the 2-mile oval in Fontana, California, you can add Auto Club Speedway to that list. This is super speedway racing. Nearly full throttle, wheel-to-wheel, wing-to-nose. One mistake here can end your day or even your career. Tonight, we cross the halfway point of the season as this race marks the 8th round with 7 remaining of the Fuel RaceTrackDesigns IndyCar Series. You thought surviving the tricks, twists, and turns of the Roval was tough enough? Try racing at 230 miles an hour in the pack at Fontana. Welcome to Fontana, California and Auto Club Speedway. My name is Kyle Heyer, joined tonight by Vinny D'Acuna from SimTV. And Vinny, and tonight, round 8 of the Fuel RaceTrackDesigns IndyCar Series. A formidable foe tonight for a lot of these drivers. Pack racing at its best. Going to be an extreme challenge for the drivers tonight.
Okay, before we do anything, that really irritates me that it's 2.001 miles. That slightly irritates me a bit. Yeah. But I guess close enough when you're rounding. But yeah, so we're here at Fontana here for the IndyCar Series, and it's going to be a fast one and a long one. 156 laps are set on the clock. Should take us about an hour at the pace we're going at under green. I don't think we're going to go fairly green, though, because it's going to be pretty tricky out there on the track. It's 134 degrees on the track. Last time we checked, might have changed a little bit. Nope, it's still as toasty as before.
So qualifying is underway right now. Let's take a look at the times that people have laid down so far. We've seen an incredibly tight field in practice. In practice, every single driver in this nearly 30-car field was only separated by 0.8 of a second. But tire wear going to be a big issue tonight, Finian. Maybe not decreasing the pace of the cars, but most certainly decreasing the performance and the maneuverability of a car deep into a run.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very key for these guys to conserve their tires, because obviously it's easy to just get up there in the pack, start swerving around all over the place. But then you're going to wear out your tires significantly over the course of the run. And the big thing, too, is considering how hot the track is, tires are going to be a lot more important once they start to wear out. So if you can manage your tires early in the run, you should be able to outlap people by the end. But that's, again, if we get a long green flag run, which we're not entirely sure yet.
One of the big discussions of last week was the Project 2 teammates crashing out after a dominant performance in the early going at the Roval. Tonight, Zach Buchanan looks mighty fast, lacking a teammate here this evening. Mitch Welker could not make it, but does Zach Buchanan's luck turn around tonight, or do you think he struggles still and ends up in a collision? Because that possibility is extremely high at a track like this.
I think he can definitely pull something out, especially considering he put a pretty solid qualifying effort in. Only 3,000 of a second off Riley Thompson. Actually changed that now. Now Eric Gonzalez up at the top, who's currently leading with a 33.073.
So Byron Daly working his way around, getting set up for his qualifying effort. Talking about this racetrack, because we know as big as this place looks, it's pretty technical. Entry and exit extremely important, and the back straightaway full of bumps.
Yeah, and it's really going to be more important on the exit of the corner. Is not, I guess, not really so much attitude, but definitely turn 4 catches a lot of people off guard here. See Byron Daly taking the corner. He's just going around the outside here, trying to build up some speed. But you're going to see, especially later in the run, when these guys run the pack, they're going to get awfully close to that outside wall.
One thing I noticed in practice is watch this car bouncing on this back straightaway right here. Watch it buffeting up and down. That is all the bumps on the back straightaway, and it's really difficult to really show you how strong those bumps are. These cars are very stiffly damped. They have very stiff suspensions. They don't have a lot of suspension travel to keep that car as low as possible to the ground. What that means is that those bumps, especially later in a run, are going to unsettle the car quite a lot, especially when we see that fuel load burn off. These drivers will be struggling to maintain grip, especially over those bumps on the back straightaway heading off into turn number 3. But Byron Daly, first lap out, 22nd quick with a 34.295. The second lap is almost certainly going to be quicker, as he's going to take the inside line through 3 and 4. And as he comes through to complete his second lap, this should certainly be, I'd be surprised if this wasn't a top 10 run here. 10 drivers right now within the 1/10 of a second mark of pole sitter Eric Gonzalez at the moment. Daly, a 33.085. That's going to be good enough for fourth place. 33.102 as the time corrects itself.
Yeah, and these guys up at the top are separated, nearly everyone actually is separated by merely thousandths of a second. So it's very easy to move. In fact, Andrew Wood and Danny Roberts actually tied.
So,
thousandth of a second.
23 drivers took a qualifying time, but the driver that will be on pole tonight, Eric Gonzalez in the number 42. We know that he's extremely talented at these big racetracks. Remember back last season to Pocono Raceway, had a car that could have won that race, had a race-winning effort going, ended up crashing or being wrecked out of that race. So your thoughts tonight, is that 42 car the one to watch?
Honestly, he could be, and we'll have to keep an eye on him as the night goes on. I mean, he obviously went up to the top at Texas, and currently in the front, so I would definitely say he knows his stuff. I have to keep an eye on him and see if he can stay in the front, because that's going to be the harder thing to do, is staying up in the front of this field.
So, taking a look at our race tonight, 156 laps. This is not a short race, as you mentioned, Finney, and if this goes green all the way to the end, an hour and 26 minutes. This puts this almost in endurance category for iRacers in general. This is a long race. Are your expectations that this race goes green? Because we were talking before, if we can get out of the first couple laps of pack racing, I'd expect this race to go pretty green.
Yeah, I think so too. Again, we have to kind of see. We heard some stuff that way the setup is once these guys get low on fuel, and gets a little bit back happy. And I've definitely experienced that myself in the low 79 on ovals at Indy. I crashed out, went out of line just a little bit when the car was low on fuel, and around the car went very easily. So guys might watch out for that. We could see a caution from that as well if these guys aren't prepared for it. But yeah, I think definitely the big thing is going to be getting out of the initial stage of pack racing. And once the tires start to wear in just a little bit, these guys spreading out, especially due to the amount of heat.
I think another thing to keep an eye on is making passes on the low side is going to be an extreme challenge. The high side, it's not necessarily going to be easy to make a pass up there, but it'll be very easy to defend from someone trying to overtake.
And the thing is, too, considering this track is very flat compared to most ovals, so there's not a lot of banking you can work with. So if you're going to check the car into the corner on the inside, you better expect that the car is going to come flying up the hill and into the driver on the outside if you're not careful enough. So we could see incidents from that with drivers getting desperate.
Let's take a look at our starting lineup here tonight. On the front row, as we mentioned, Eric Gonzalez from Ohio, right alongside Riley Thompson, the number 56. We know Riley is hankering for victory. He's been extremely good lately. We'll see if he can wrap one up tonight after 156 laps at Auto Club.
Moving back to row 2, Zach Buchanan in the 40, starting in third, trying to make up after what happened to him last week. Byron Daly in the 06 on the outside of him in fourth.
Moving on back to row number 3, Jason Brophy from the Northwest in his number 44, a very solid 5th place start. Cristobal Valenzuela from Chile in the number 3 car. He'll start on the outside of row number 3.
7th place, you got the 32, Andrew Wood from New England, starting on the inside. Outside of him, the 41 in his Ferrari. Danny Roberts will be starting in 8th.
9th place, Nicholas Johnson in the number 28 car. John Poole, the driver currently chasing the points leader, 4 points back. He's in the number 23 car. He starts 10th.
On back, Stephen Larkamp, the 31 from Pennsylvania, will be starting on the inside in 11th. Outside of him, Brent Fuller, who we believe is a new name, will be starting on the outside of him in 12th.
13th and 14th, that's the points leader. Kite Bommersbach in the 37 has a 4-point cushion coming into this race. Not a big one, he'll have to protect that tonight. Cohen Evans starting 14th in the number 17 car from Texas. Not from Texas, sorry, I was reading the next one.
Rodrigo Munoz will be starting on the inside in 15 and 09. Outside of him, Jack Andrick. And the 9 will be starting in 16.
So as we prepare for the start of this race, Finian, big thoughts. Long run, certainly going to change this race, but if we're having short runs, do you think it's important to take tires if we get 5, 10, 15 lap runs?
Yeah, I don't think tires are going to be important considering the heat. You're going to be wearing out a lot, especially if you're running up inside that pack. You're going to be burning up a lot more tire, being in the aero wash of all the drivers in front of you.
Field rolls out of turn number 4, 156 laps, round number 8 of the Fuel Racetrack Designs IndyCar Series about to go green. The starter's got the green flag in hand, almost 30 cars here at Auto Club Speedway. Green flag flies, racing in Fontana.
Great start for Eric Gonzalez, already getting to a lead, but it's not going to last long until they get to the back straightaway as Zach Buchanan and everyone else is going to be chasing him down.
This is going to play out. The draft is going to be extraordinarily important. Can you manage to make passes without any help tonight? That's going to be a big topic of discussion. There's Zach Buchanan, that number 40 on the outside lane. Gonzalez holds the inside, some shuffling down the back straight. Byron Daly to the inside. That's Riley Thompson up to the outside in the 56.
Already these guys starting to close back up on one another. You got to be careful for it. And anticipated, you see Buchanan working to the outside of Thompson, and it's going to be Eric Gonzalez who will retain the lead for lap 1.
So right now, everyone's kind of gotten themselves single-filed out, but I doubt it will stay this way. Look behind. That is the 41 of Danny Roberts in that bright red machine. Looking for some more success this season. Hasn't quite found it as much as he has in the past. Andrew Wood right in front of him has struggled lately, but right behind there's John Poole. He's got to beat Kite Bommersbach tonight in the number 23 as he drops out of the server. Potentially, no, he's back, but got to watch that internet tonight. He'll lose a lot more points if that happens.
Yeah, and again, he's so close to the points lead. He can't afford, especially if Kite Bommersbach finishes well. He's currently in 10th and fighting for that spot with 10th as he's getting a little bit of contact there.
Yeah, Kite Bommersbach, again, only a 4-point lead coming into the night, so he's got to protect that points lead with all he can. Stephen Larkamp is 68 points back, so not really a huge threat from him at the exact moment. But up front, we've gotten separated out quite nicely, but Zach Buchanan and Byron Daly fighting hard for third place. Now Gonzalez tries to break the draft going down the back.
Yeah, I think this might be due to a lot of guys figuring, this is going to be a long race. No point in duking it out lap 3. They're going to be waiting for later.
Andrew Wood on the outside in 9th place right now. That's Ben Fuller right behind him. We talked about Andrew Wood's struggles in recent weeks. He has not had the luck that he's needed. Some of it has been on himself. Some of it has been on other drivers. But starting 9th tonight, all he's got to do is stay out of trouble. Right now, I like how this race is playing out, Finian. Everyone's spreading out, getting some space to race, and we don't look like we're necessarily pack racing just yet.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised that barely a pack formed pretty much only for the first lap or two, and already started to separate out. And here we see Byron Daly working to the outside of Zach Buchanan.
Yeah, Buchanan with a new Airbus livery on board the car this week, and see the inside lane already losing him ground. He gets really close to the wall out of turn 4. Here comes Jason Brophy in the 44 to the inside out of turn 4, though. Look at this 3-wide battle. Vic Bloom's in it in the 99. He just goes by. That's Larkamp and Andrick right behind him.
Larkamp's dropped down the order a few positions from the start. He's got Andrick to his inside now. Tries to make a path. You see Larkamp is taking it easy, running all the way up in the high lane, trying to preserve his tires for later.
Cohen Evans in the 17 cars right in the middle of this pack as well. We're right on board. How much air do you need on the nose of this car to make it turn, or does it really depend at a track like this? Is there enough space to find another group?
Yeah, you definitely can try to move around quite a bit. It's a very, very wide track. Problem is the lane for the corner, though, is fairly small, so you got to be very careful in how you navigate the corner, because if you're not careful, you can easily end up in the wall and exit.
There's Danny Roberts right in front of Cohen Evans as well, and Kite Bommersbach taking a look at... Whoa, contact there as Ben Fuller goes sailing up the racetrack, and Bommersbach, the points leader, with damage, is struggling on the apron.
From the looks of it, it looks like he's all right. Maybe some... No, it actually doesn't look like there's any damage. Maybe to the side pod.
A big scare for the points leader. This would have been disastrous this early in the race to have an issue. Let's go back and take a look. There was contact heading down into turn number 1. Here's a look from above.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about, trying to use that inside lane. You see Bommersbach make a move to the inside, very low on entry.
Yeah, it couldn't just hold it there and struggled, got up the racetrack. I don't know if there'll be any damage to that car, but certainly a moment that will make you question diving to the inside on that kind of tire. It doesn't seem like it's working right now. Cohen Evans following a battle between Danny Roberts and Ben Fuller. Fuller looks to be okay as well. I don't see any obvious damage on that machine. Even the floor looks okay, so I think he escaped that without any drama. But here comes the 41, a strong run to the outside lane.
Roberts taking it through. Also Cohen Evans trying to follow on through, begin his march at least to the front of the field.
And speaking of the front of the field, no changes up at the front. Eric Gonzalez has a 3.5 of a second lead. And no other struggles around there. Byron Daly's pulled third away from Brophy, but other than that, they've stayed pretty constant.
Actually, we can go to that battle for third. It looks like they're very close and going at it. You see the 44 trying to find a way around Daly.
And again, you see the 44 trying to follow Byron Daly, and right now it might work a little bit, but as the run goes on, that aero push is only going to get worse and worse as you lose the mechanical grip from the tires. So I think Brophy is going to have to try something different if he wants to get around, but maybe you're fine here. Maybe you're good just saving fuel, but as he dips out to the left, I don't think that's in his strategy.
He's trying to go for it. At least get past the 06. Maybe feels like he can go up at least right in behind Riley Thompson, because the top two starting to break away from everyone else.
Back to the Cohen Evans battle. These guys are fighting hard.
3 wide.
And 3 wide. Here comes Ben Fuller down to the inside.
Whoa,
3 wide into 3.
There.
Danny Roberts gets turned. Does he save it? He does. An incredible job there. That could have been disastrous.
Yeah, I am amazed. I'm sure everyone in behind these guys just had a small heart attack, seeing a car spin right in front of them. Somehow he saved it.
We're not out of the woods yet. Here comes Vic Bloom in the 99 right up to the rear wing. There's Stephen Larkamp, who's third in the points coming into the night. And a hornet's nest up here as everyone tries to vie for some racing room. Oh, no! Out of turn 2, horrible collision. The field scatters, and a big mess. And it's the 3 car of Cristobal Valenzuela that was lying prone in the middle of the racetrack. I think we managed to escape with only a couple casualties in that, but that was a terrifying moment seeing that car sideways in the racing line. That will almost certainly be a retirement.
That car is definitely done for the day.
That was a terrifying incident, and how helpless do you feel? He was on the inside of Andrew Wood.
This was about for 7th, 8th place.
He's going to clip the apron right here.
Oh.
And almost had it saved and corrected up the racetrack. Bounces off the fence, and whoa! Danny Roberts might have been able to netcode through that, but that was only a single car incident. Could have been a lot worse. Heads up driving by everyone on back. That was a great job there.
Yeah, especially considering it was a pack trying to avoid it as well. Everyone just gave each other enough room, but there you see Valenzuela on the bottom, steers straight up into the wall.
And watch this, just, whoa, look at Larkamp up through the outside wall. And they did a great job missing that. Right on board with Larkamp here. Thankfully, this racetrack's wide enough that you have places to go, but things happen so fast, I'm just amazed this wasn't a bigger issue.
This is a big call here because there was some smoke. He decided to go the outside last second. It was a good call because I don't think he would have made it to be inside the way he was running.
And for Cristobal Valenzuela, wow! And,
yeah. I want to get a slow-mo of that and see if we can see Roberts and how close he was to nicking Valenzuela.
Yeah, this is just not the direction you want to go into the safer barrier, which at this point, wow! There could not have been an inch between those two cars. But, all right, field on pit lane here, Finney. And I asked you earlier, you mentioned every time we're going to come down pit lane.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by this at all. With everyone coming down, you can clearly see by the way they're racing that they're feeling some of the effects on their tires already very early on into the run.
Yeah, so Cristobal Valenzuela is still rolling. We'll see if he can get that car repaired.
Whoa!
I don't think so, but up at the front, car spinning. Byron Daly off to the side of the racetrack. What happened there?
I think he made contact with the driver, which shouldn't happen.
Shouldn't, but maybe it did. Let's go back and see exactly how this...
It looked like he did, but I'm perplexed as to how on earth that happened. I think he might have just got on the gas too hard.
It could have been, but, you know...
Well, let's ride on... I kind of want to ride on board and listen to the RPMs. That might...
Yeah, he just spun out there. But took the wing off, unfortunately, so one of our front runners with some pretty heavy damage. He's got to fix that, certainly before we go back green here.
Yeah, so he's going to have to come back in and replace that wing. Fortunately for him, that's the only thing that's damaged, but he's going to lose a lot of track position.
Well, the good thing is this racetrack is so enormous that the pace laps take quite a little ways, so he's got plenty of time to come down, fix that wing, get back out on the track.
Yeah, it's about 5 seconds, I believe, to throw a new one on. So
plenty of time. But looking down at this racetrack, you know, we talked about how big this place is, but I'm surprised to say that we have not really seen the pack racing that we thought we would see, which is a good thing for the longevity of this race, getting it through under green flag conditions. But I know the track's hot, but I still would have thought the draft would overcome that. But I guess the drivers are feeling stable enough that they can drive away from each other.
Yeah, I'm thinking it also might be due to these guys. I think, you know, again, long race. Looking at our timing and scoring, it's saying we'll finish this in 1 hour and 22 minutes if we go green. So very long race to go. And I think guys just figure there's no point in battling out on lap 13 of 156. So that might also be part of it too. But definitely I think the pack is pretty hard to form up, harder than we both thought.
Well, the aggression level is certainly going to pick up as the race goes on. I think you nailed hit the nail on the head there. I don't think the drivers are pushing as hard as they will later in the race. I do think we'll see some more incidents. I also do think we'll see this racing tighten up as the race goes on. However, if we do get a long green flag run and we start getting into green flag pit stops, I think we're going to start seeing or stop seeing any kind of caution flags. If we get the field entirely spread out, I think we'll just go green all the way to the end. That seems like to be par for the course this year with this group.
I also hope that people practice getting on pit road, because it's fairly tricky with these cars, the transitioning off the banking, getting it slowed down with old tires. So hopefully they got some practice in slowing down. Otherwise, green flag pit stops can be very interesting, and we can definitely see green flag pit stops with the way we're running at the moment.
So Rodrigo Munoz chooses to stay out.
That's a very bold move.
So I asked you earlier about this, and earlier you agreed with me. So I'm curious if your status has changed on this. But I said earlier before the stream started that we haven't really seen lap time fall off with the tires. So I don't think Rodrigo Munoz will necessarily be a whole lot slower, but I do think he'll lack the ability to place the car where he needs to in the corner to go fast. I think it's not necessarily the all-out speed. I think it's the ability to place the car where you want it. I think that's the struggle for the 09, but I think it's so early in the race, worth trying, I think.
Yeah, it's definitely worth trying, and especially I guess he's seeing that everyone's getting strung out, so he's not going to just get swarmed up by a pack. Only thing is, once he gets a start, if he doesn't get a good enough restart, those guys in behind him are easily going to catch up to him. And they have a lot more maneuverability, as you were talking about, with fresher tires, so they'll be able to go to the inside and make it stick. 09, not so much. So he's kind of put himself in a hole, but again, I guess worth trying at this point.
So looking at the points, we know Kite Bommersbach and John Poole are the drivers fighting for the championship at the moment. Larkamp's back. He needs a lot to go his way the next 6 weeks. Clifton Naranjo and drivers
on
back.
I don't think Naranjo is there.
He's not here. I don't think he really stands a chance in terms of the championship picture. But for Jason Brophy and Cohen Evans, this is a good opportunity to. You can't win the championship from this far back. I mean, maybe mathematically, I just don't see that happening. But this is a good opportunity to jump up some spots in the points, especially for Brophy without Naranjo here, and maybe if Larkamp gets himself into trouble. So I think Brophy, this is a night for him to capitalize on. He's sitting 4th right now for the restart, so we'll see if he can improve.
And you can earn 100 points for finishing in first, so it's definitely within the realm of possibility that can catch up. They need to get some really good finishes to try to catch up. But definitely, I would say it's pretty much between Bommersbach, Poole, and even Larkamp too. He's not that far behind, but Brophy and Evans are a little bit further back.
The challenge is it's not necessarily the number of points they are back in being able to gain those points. It's being able to gain those also with the ability of the other drivers having bad days, which may or may not happen. So coming back to the restart, lap number 15, we'll try this again. 156 laps of this race. We've completed 14. Green flag back in the air here at Fontana.
And you see Eric Gonzalez already making moves to the inside. There he goes immediately on past Munoz before turn 1, and here comes Riley Thompson.
3 wide for the lead. Here comes Thompson up the middle, but Gonzalez got the jump and got the lead away. Munoz slips back to 3rd, and I think we're already seeing this experiment not play out the way he wanted. Thompson in line, back to the outside, side by side down the back straight.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Munoz deals with this dirty air. If he's just going to kind of, knows what's going to happen and just going to drop to the back here. We'll have to keep an eye.
Yeah, he's struggling already. So I think we've learned something, is that staying out is not going to work. And
he's already almost in the wall there, trying to keep up the speed.
Riley Thompson swings to the outside lane. He's got a big run, and the outside might be preferred later in the run, but in the early run, I think the bottom might be the preferred groove. We'll see if Gonzalez can hang on, but look at the run Thompson carries in that 2nd to 3rd groove.
Yeah, definitely the inside's better early on in the run, but remember, you're burning up some more tire there, so, in the long course of things, you might not want to go down there, but Gonzalez is going to try to defend there.
Here comes Brophy. And Nick Johnston as well in this group. So the top 4 all within about a half a second of each other, but the front 2 now drafting on the front straight, trying to get separated, and Thompson swings back to the outside again. I like the speed I see in this 56, and Thompson as a whole has improved not only on the IndyCar side, but as well on the stock car side in recent weeks. So I don't know what he's learned or what he's doing different, but it's certainly working as he tries to get around the 42 somehow. He pulls even with him down the back straight.
Gonna look for a lane out there, trying to get alongside, maybe try to pinch the 42 on down.
Wheel to wheel, side by side through 3 and 4. And it's a dead heat at the front of the field. Jason Brophy settles into 3rd. There's Buchanan taking a look at 4th place Johnston. But 220 miles an hour off into turn 1. I think for Eric Gonzalez, this will eventually be a losing battle, but you see through the middle of the corner how much better of a run the 42 gets. But now the outside lane, I didn't really get a big enough run here, but here comes Brophy. He's going to back out of it before they get to turn 3.
I think that's really just due to how flat this track is. I think that outside lane just doesn't get a good of a run as you see at tracks like maybe Texas or Kansas off the timeline, but he's definitely able to get at least something there. And you see him go to the inside now, Gonzalez, on the apron.
And he got there down to the inside. Fair game here below that white line. Just can't come back up on track and force your way back on. So Thompson gets on through. Will take the lead away.
Yeah, easily take it away from Gonzalez. No fight there. Here comes the 44, Jason Brophy, sitting in 3rd. Does he try to make a move to the inside? He has a look here in turn 3.
Caution in the background. Who's it going to be this time? Oh, it's Danny Roberts. Up and over on the roll hoop, skidding down the back straightaway, toppling over. And the bad luck this year will continue for the 41. I think it was a single car incident, but we'll get confirmation on that shortly. Oh, no.
Whoa, I think Larkamp might have been involved in that.
Yeah, so the 41, does he try to clear himself up here, or does the 31 make a mistake? Oh, he just turns right.
Oh.
Wow, look at that. Look at that flip.
Yeah, that was awesome. I don't
like
think
Brendan Gaughan out there.
Yeah, Roberts probably doesn't think that was awesome, but that was actually a pretty realistic blowover, honestly, all things considered.
Yeah, so he's actually going to pull across the nose of 31 right here. Oh, wow.
That was awesome. I love that. I'll keep saying it.
Are you not entertained?
It was nice not to see the physics go to complete poop there.
Yeah, so again, I think what we're going to see here is rolling through turn 2. The 41, I think he assumes he's going to carry some more momentum here. You can't even see, looking off the rear wing here, you can't even see the 31 in the view, and he's going to just pull across and thinks he's got the momentum to clear, but the 31 still has the nose in there, and right here, Car's going to catch the wall and up and over. Look at that, Finian. And we'll come back down, and there goes underneath him. I think that was the 9 of Jack Andrick that went underneath him. Definitely get that at full speed. Yeah, just came across. That's definitely on the 41, but look at that. Woo! Right underneath. And he escaped without damage somehow. See the 31's perspective. I'm sure he'll probably have some issues with this. Yeah. Wow. Honestly, he got away with pretty minimal damage, all things considered. But a shakeup for the driver, one of the drivers that's competing for the championship. So he's got that new wing put on the car. I imagine the 41 is probably done for the night. Although I will say the impacts he took weren't insane, but and most of it was just skidding on the roll hoop. But I don't think that car will be repairable.
what's really gonna hurt, you can see quite a lot of side pod damage, especially to that rear cover. I'm not sure what to call that part. The part that's right in front of the rear wheels.
The spine. We'll roll with that. He broke it.
Yeah, but I think definitely really the problem once you get upside down like that is the car. You saw it teetering, going from left, right, left. You're gonna kind of bash your wheels in, and that gonna damage the suspension with that. So that's definitely not gonna do me favors. I'm sure he doesn't want to get back out there also with damage.
So with that being said, we've got some more strategy, and this time I like this call, staying out strategy. We only went a couple laps. So for Andrew Wood, Vic Bloom, Cristobal Valenzuela. Also, Valenzuela got that car repaired. Wasn't he in the fence nose first?
Yeah.
10 laps ago?
I'm astounded that he actually got back out there. Looks like they put a cover back on in front of the suspension, on the front of the nose. So, interesting.
And looks like Ben Fuller is going to try that as well. So Eric Gonzalez is going to be the first one on fresh tires for this restart. Now, we saw for the driver that stayed out last time, I believe it was, who was the driver that stayed out last time? Rodrigo Munoz. That clearly didn't work, but that was about 15 lap tires. What about 3 or 4? I mean, maybe it's a disadvantage, but
I think it's going to be better off for them than Munoz, but again, we'll have to kind of see, because we saw Gonzalez was pretty aggressive on the start. This time, however, 4 guys have stayed out, so, and I think that might help them out a lot more. I think if you have guys that stay out on the same old tires as you, and you get a little bit of a buffer, so this is, I think, would be very good for Wood. Maybe not so much for Fuller or Valenzuela, because they're right in front of the guys on fresh tires, but Bloom and Wood might be able to take advantage of this, so let's see.
So, keeping you updated on what's going on SimTV this week. Looks like Saturday night, we've got the Outsider Racing League from Fontana, right here from Fontana, California. Then on Sunday, we've got 3 Wide Racing League returning and continuing their playoffs. The trucks are going to be at Knoxville this week and Rockingham for the Cup Series. And then for the Indy Elite Series on Sunday night, they're going to be at Michigan, so another 2-mile racetrack for Indy cars on Sunday night. Then Tuesday, Fuels Cup Series, Mission 22 Cup Series, heads to Talladega. Some restrictor plate racing, always a fun time watching with this new package. Finina makes the racing a lot better, I think. Especially with a big field, almost 40 cars. I expect that race to be wild.
And also, for Spec MX5, they finish their season next week at Road Atlanta on Wednesday. It's going to be a championship between pretty much Bressy and Hartley, I think.
You mean DJ Alessandrini and Hartley?
Oh, sorry, yes.
Yeah, so DJ Alessandrini and Robert Hartley have basically gone eye for eye all season long, winning essentially the same number of races, but they head to Road Atlanta on Wednesday. That'll be streamed live at 8:30 p.m. on Winding Road Magazine's YouTube channel. And at the end of the night, we will crown one of those drivers champion and the chance to test a real Spec MX5 race car, get a track day with full team support, or spend 2 days at a level up racing school at Circuit of the Americas. That is what's at stake. A chance to really kind of get an idea of what being a pro race car driver feels like. It's all up for grabs on Wednesday night at 8:30, so just under a week from now, 6 days to be exact. 8:30 p.m., Winding Road Magazine's YouTube channel link will be up this weekend. Make sure you're there. 56, passing below the line penalty. I guess that is a penalty here in the Fuel IndyCar Series, so the 56 car will be headed to the rear of the field here shortly. And I wasn't aware that that was a penalizable offense, but I guess in this series that will be.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do so many series between stock cars, IndyCar, that it's impossible to keep track of every single rule. But unfortunately for Thompson, he's got a lot of work to do. but if you're going to have a penalty happen, better to have it earlier in the race.
Yeah, definitely so. So, it looks like, and definitely it's got a lot of time still. We got, about 130, 140 laps left in this race to go, so has a lot of time to make that mistake up.
Andrew Wood trying to change his fortune with some strategy tonight. Lap number 24. Wood's going to fire off and bring us back to green. Green flag back in the air in Fontana. Big of a checkup back here from Buchanan on back. I think we got it all sorted out, though.
Yeah, not as good of a jump for Gonzalez this time, so we'll see how long he takes for him to navigate through these 4 cars, if he can do it at all. He'll look off the back of Andrew Wood's car.
Pretty nice and tidy restart. Some action right now around John Poole. That is Riley Thompson to his inside. Again, Thompson still has to serve that penalty. But behind Cohen Evans and Kite Bommersbach, who is the points leader, they're side by side off into turn 3. Jack Andrick, who's narrowly avoided a couple incidents tonight, sits behind him in 14th.
And Bommersbach keeping close track of the points battle as we go side by side for the lead. And looks like Vic Bloom's going to lead that lap barely by a nose.
And Eric Gonzalez is about a half a second back from this fight, so we have not seen the tires be quite as important on this restart, something we expected to see. But Vic Bloom goes to the top spot out of turn 2.
Here he comes with getting a draft as he's trying to make a move to the inside. Looks like Valenzuela is looking to make a move to the inside of Wood. Can't get there in time.
Yeah, trying to get the nose in some clean air. Can't do it just yet. Zach Buchanan, Nicholas Johnston, John Poole. Line astern out of turn 4. Rodrigo Munoz, remember that strategy he played earlier. Started 15th tonight. After all the drama that he's pulled, he's actually managed to get himself up inside the top 10. So I still think a gain for him, even though it would have been a long-term loss had that race stayed green.
I think that's what he was hoping for, too, is that he's going to get a quick caution, and indeed it happened for him.
He'll definitely staying tighter on this restart than the last. You see Zach Buchanan in the 40 was mighty quick in practice. Doesn't quite seem to have the race pace that we would have expected out of this car. But certainly lacking a teammate is going to hurt tonight. I mean, again, you're not necessarily drafting like you would on a super speedway, but it does help to have some friends out there.
Yeah, it definitely does. You see Eric Gonzalez to the inside, looking, he's going to pass. Valenzuela on the straightaway. Clear him, though, before the corner abruptly.
Squeezes up right in front of Valenzuela. That's what we saw at the exit of turn 2. Caution out in the background. Jack Andrick in the 9 is the primary one involved, and he's crashed.
Oh, yeah, that car is definitely done.
And he's going to try to get that thing unstuck from the pavement. It's, without a doubt, not driving very well. And let's go back and look at how this one formed. He's got Don Runkle Jr. behind him, Kite Bommersbach, and Ben Fuller in front of him.
Yeah, this is between Andrick and Don Runkle. See here,
Runkle drives in. Ooh, wow. And Byron Daly got caught up in that. And yeah, that was definitely on Runkle there. Just drove in there, and I think he meant to turn down left, and maybe the 9 jumping out of the throttle maybe surprised him. You can see the 9 slow down right before that happened. I think they just caught him off guard, but certainly a big mistake there by the 00. We get a better idea here off into turn 1.
Yeah, I think Runkle's trying to make a pass. Andrick was following the car ahead of him.
Oh, and Runkle got a big piece of that as well. We didn't catch that the first time. Slid down the apron. And of course, Byron Daly.
Yeah, this sucks for Daly, too, because remember, I had that spun off of pit road entry.
Oh.
Put him in the back, get that wing replaced, and unfortunately, he's going to have significantly more damage to that car now.
How many? Can you replace the wing indefinitely?
Yeah.
Okay, so he's got
infinite
wings.
Yeah.
Red Bull. The new slogan. But that might be it for the 06 tonight. We'll see. He's out of the car at the moment. Some pit stops. Vic Bloom, Andrew Wood.
You guys staying out.
Eric Gonzalez is going to stay out. Yeah, this is really a split strategy here.
A few guys in the front, majority of the back coming in, a few of the front and midfield staying out.
So we'll take a look. Everybody with the pit label next to them is down on pit lane. Everyone without the label stays out on the racetrack at the moment. Pretty much looks like a 50-50 split, maybe a little bit more heavy towards drivers that have come to pit lane here. So 29 laps complete. Eric Gonzalez is the one out in front as Andrew Wood will win the race off pit lane. Eric Gonzalez has led 15 of our 30 laps. So we'll jump to break. We'll be back in just a moment for the restart.
To most, driving is just a mundane task between point A and point B. Nothing more. It's the frustration of traffic at 8 a.m. the feeling of sickness on a long ride. The car? Just a tool. It's supposed to be practical, reliable, and fast. But the speed is really the reason cars exist, born out of a necessity to make that A to B trip just a little bit faster. Some have a deeper connection with cars, found somewhere in the bond of man and machine, a desire to be part of something bigger than yourself. It's the extension of mind and body to something more exciting than just another appliance. And these people never cared about practicality or reliability. To them, the only thing that matters is speed. We're born with a competitive nature, part of a biological necessity that has not yet worn off with time. People have raced for thousands of years, and that competition has transcended history and found its way to the industrial age. Railroads raced to build across the country, replacing the horses whose strength is still used as a benchmark for power today. And as personal vehicles became popular, the railroads died off. What once was the quickest way across the country became snail's pace in comparison. The interstate highway system expanded and cars populated every driveway. And the competition between types of transport quickly transitioned into the race to have the fastest car. Bragging rights. Manufacturers like Porsche, Ferrari, and BMW emerged in auto racing, each trying to one-up the other. Building engines became an arms race. Who could build the fastest dinosaur-powered Lancer? So while the passion for cars has died for most, there are still people that are fascinated by racing. The sights, the sounds, the smell of burning rubber and spent race fuel lingering in the air, this is what attracts us to the sport of auto racing. We are empowered by drivers that climb in impossibly fast cars and put everything on the line for the sake of competition. Drivers who know that one slip-up can lead to disaster. And for the longest time, wishing to be a race car driver was just a childhood dream. All we could ever be was a spectator. Opportunities? Limited and expensive. Reserved only for the who's who of the racing world. Until now.
Welcome back live to California Speedway, Fontana Auto Club, whatever you call it. We're back for the Fuel RaceTrackDesigns IndyCar Series. 3 cautions slowing the progress here early. 31 of 156 laps are in the books. Eric Gonzalez has retaken the lead after some strategy here. Finney, let's take a look. The top 6 cars stayed out on the racetrack from 7th on back. All came to pit lane for fresh Firestones. A little bit longer run that time. What's your call? I mean, I think this is going to be our challenge all night long, is trying to figure out, are the tires going to last?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It might last with these guys. It depends on how much they've used them on the last run, so I have to keep an eye on it. I definitely think Valenzuela with 19 laps, I think he's going to probably end up dropping to the back of this order, but we'll have to keep an eye here. It's nice to see, though, 3 different strategies up in the front to kind of see how they handle it.
Update on the 56 car, Riley Thompson. He gave up his spots on pit lane, so there was no penalty officially assessed to the 56, so all is fair. Lap number 32 will be our 3rd restart of the night. Eric Gonzalez leads the way. Green flag back in the air, and they fire back off. Bit of a stack up again towards the rear behind Vic Bloom, and there's a car out in the side. That's Zach Buchanan in the 40.
Someone did not get going in that second up the field here. We're going to be 3 wide for a second, going into turn 1 for a moment. Ooh. Looks like we get back sorted out double foul for the for Waller.
Oh no!
Bauersbach loose on the apron.
There he goes, spinning. He's going to get clobbered by Ben Fuller and crash, and he gets hit again. And the points leader is going to be destroyed in this 4th caution of the night on the restart on lap number 32.
Yeah, that's a big mistake there, going on the apron.
Yeah, and that car is done. The points leader's out of the race. Coming into the night, it was 4 points separating him and John Poole. And John Poole right now currently resides up inside the top 15, I believe. So Not going to be what Bommersbach needed for his night, but a terrible restart. Here's a look at how this all progressed. He's going to turn left down to the inside. He's going to just clip the apron. Exactly what happened to Valenzuela earlier.
Wow.
Spinning around like a top, and then Ben Fuller nowhere to go. And then, wow, who came in there sailing? Was that Victor Valley in the 7?
I think we're going to have to probably look. It might be him or Johnny Martin.
I think, whoa, it was Johnny Martin in the... Oh, no, maybe... Who was this? No, John Wilco? Oh, who's the green car? Oh, was it Evan Adams?
Yeah, it was Evan Adams.
In the 59. Came sailing in there.
He was just kind of staying out of the way on the top side.
Just had the gas in it too long. And we're just kind of hoping and praying, but that's not going to do you a whole lot of good. That was a little late reaction for my liking, but they'll self-penalize him there. I think either way, the 37 was already destroyed, so we'll continue on with our 4th caution of the night. Eric Gonzalez leads the way.
If we can go back, since we're under caution, I want to see Philip Clark. That was the car. He did a great job avoiding that incident. It happened right in front of him in the 73.
All right, so...
Actually, is this one?
Philip Clark in...
No, sorry, Brian Harris, the driver I was thinking of in the 73.
73? Okay,
yes.
Well, right on board. Here's his view. Oh, yes.
He did an absolutely fantastic job avoiding this. Riding in behind Bommersbach right ahead. Car against the stand just lets up enough.
Did a great job there. Unfortunately for Ben Fuller, really he could have done nothing about this. I mean, he was pretty much had to choose a line and stick with it. For the drivers from here on back, though, should have been enough time to miss this, but yeah, he was on the brakes. Nothing he could have done. Yeah. He should be able to maybe repair that car, but I don't know if he will. He's currently not in the car on pit lane, so we'll see if that car gets repaired. But Gonzalez leads the way here, Finney. I'm liking how this 42 car looks tonight. I said it pre-race that this is probably my favorite car to win the race. It seems like these big ovals, he's just got it figured out.
Yeah, definitely looking like the guy to beat tonight. No one really has been able to show as much dominance as the 42, in my opinion.
He's led 20 of the 34 laps. But, of course, taking a look at our race information so far, 4 cautions for 11 of their 34 laps. They've had 8 lead changes. A bunch of these have been on pit stops because I don't think anyone can decide when they want to pit, because we could really go green for 100 laps right after this, and if you haven't pitted, you're going to be in trouble at the tail end of that run. So you're trying to predict what's going to happen next. I just don't know if it's something you can predict right now with how crazy it's been so far. And we expected this coming into Fontana. This is what it was like last season. We had a couple big wrecks early on that thinned out the field quite a bit. We started with 29 cars. We're down to 23 of them running on the racetrack right now. So it seems like attrition is high as it was a couple weeks ago at Charlotte Roval. Valenzuela, though, has recovered very nicely. This is an impressive drive back after repairing that car after an early collision. I think his teammate is also having a pretty decent night, all things considered.
Yeah, I'm still impressed that that car was able to get back going, and he took a heavy lick into the wall, but is back running, and Munoz also is teaming in 4th, so they're having a great day, 2nd and 4th, those teammates.
And if we know anything, basing this off of Project 2 last week at the Roval, nothing's guaranteed. Even if you have 2 fast race cars, 2 fast drivers, the unpredictability of certain racetracks can wrench anything away from you. Now, we had a couple really solid, really clean races, but you head to a place like the Roval, mistakes will penalize you hard there, and they'll penalize you hard here. We just saw the points leader, the driver that's winning the championship right now, make a huge mistake and take himself out. That means it can happen to anybody.
Yeah, both those drivers, teammates, and also from Chile, so nice to see them out here running.
Chile?
You can see it. Chile is the...
Whenever I hear Chile, I think of like the food.
Yeah.
and while that's good,
yeah. I'm going to say it the American way.
The American way?
Without the accents.
We're in California. I was trying to figure out what that says on the wall there. I don't know if that's a company or if that's like...
No, I think it's a saying when...
Don't hurt yourself.
I took 6 years of Spanish, so you the hell I know this.
Bienvenidos. Ah.
Look it up. I'm going to use my good friend Google
here.
There we
go. Oh boy, this is embarrassing. So we'll be restarting on lap number 37 of 156. Still about 120 laps to go.
It means welcome.
You should know that.
I don't know. I've never heard that saying, though.
I took French in high school, so that's my excuse.
Yeah. But yeah, I've never really heard that saying.
So when we go to Montreal in a couple weeks, you can yell at me there if I don't know how to say something. But, all right. Well, Canadian French and French are pretty different. So it's different enough that
I know what you mean by the way you said it.
French.
French is different.
I really want French toast now. I'm thinking about French toast, and I really want some French. We don't have enough. Anyway, coming back to the restart, Eric Gonzalez, Valenzuela, Nicholas Johnston in the 28, Rodrigo Munoz, and Cohen Evans, your top 5. How about Cohen Evans? Victorious last season in this number 17 car. And I don't know, he hasn't won since we've been covering. I don't know if he's won it all this year. But certainly looks pretty solid this race. Remember, he won at Pocono last year in a great fight with Tim Silliman. We'll see if he's got any juice left in the tank to go for a victory in the next 120 laps.
He has not won since Pocono.
So it's been a long time coming. All right, remember, we're time constrained tonight, so if this race gets a couple more yellows, we might be on the verge of running over the time limit and having to end this race early. But green flag back in the air. Gonzalez fires off a strong restart for him. And Vic Bloom didn't get a very good start. That is John Poole, who is now your points leader on the inside lane heading down to turn 1. Riley Thompson still trying to get back up to the front after making that pass and penalizing himself for it earlier.
And he's really lucky that he didn't get a penalty for that. Would have put him a lap down, potentially. And that would have been kind of hard to get back with all the amount of cautions we've had so far. It would have been pretty easy to get that back because we've got 23 cars remaining, and all of them on the lead lap.
So Riley Thompson trying to overtake Vic Bloom. Can't do it on the bottom of the racetrack. We'll see if he gets a little bit more creative as the run goes on. That's one thing I'm really curious to see. If we do get a long green flag run, how will the drivers adjust their line? Which lines will they choose? I don't think we're going to see drivers rim riding. That used to be a very valid line in the Cup Series. That has changed with this new package, but we might see some experimentation with different lines, and I do expect the leaders to be some of the first drivers to try those out when they start battling here momentarily. Now, Cohen Evans has Munoz, Brophy, and Wood all tucked in a group right behind him.
Brophy making it past the inside of Wood, not able to get clear as Wood gets to run to the outside. Here comes Zach Buchanan trying to maybe make his charge back to the front here.
Buchanan on the outside lane. This is the lowest he's been running all day long, trying to gain some ground. And going to turn down right behind Brophy. He's going to lose some air on the wing, but he's got the car turned down so where it doesn't even matter. And now he can use the slipstream on the straightaway, but look at Wood with the outside run. He'll carry that right past the 44 again.
A lot of guys preferring that outside lane. Definitely the lane I would choose. You can build up have a much better run on the outside and after before he lets it getting tight. As you see Wood and Buchanan actually get tight coming off the corner.
Yeah, he had to lift and lost a lot of momentum there, but was able to gain a lot of it back with the slipstream. Now, Rodrigo Munoz in the 09 goes to the high side through 1 and 2. Wood to the bottom of the racetrack, making ground down there as Cohen Evans tries to chase down Jason Brophy.
And Munoz has definitely been a lot more conservative, hasn't really been making a lot of moves. I think he's just kind of riding around for now, feeling the car out and just trying to stick with these leaders up here in the front.
See, the middle of the racetrack is a very popular place right now. You can tell just by looking at all the rubber in the racetrack. That's where the drivers have been the most tonight, but that will eventually heat up and get slicker and slicker as drivers overuse it. So I think drivers will start to have to seek out different lines. See Cohen Evans just above that black stuff there. And look at the run he's going to get now.
Just trying to stick a nose to the outside of Brophy. He's barely going to get it there and get a little bit of a run down the straightaway to boot. And actually looks like Brophy's letting Buchanan on by. Or sorry, Cohen Evans on by.
Yep, and Brophy will have to settle back in right behind them. That's Zach Buchanan trying to build another run. And he's gotten tight out of turn 4 the last couple times, but now he's got no cars in front of him that close. He can use the slipstream here to get a run on the 44. Which lane does he choose for turn 1? I'll bet you he chooses the high side. Oh, and I bet wrong. He's going to go right back to the bottom.
Yeah, I think he feels like Cohen Evans is out there on the outside. Didn't want to put his nose in there, make it 3 wide.
You see right to the outside, that is Evans. 3 cars in a group, 2 blue and 1 brown on the inside lane. Through turn 4, completing lap number 42. Up front, it's all Gonzalez by a second. He's got way more pace than everybody once the race gets going green. Great battle for 4th, though.
Yeah, here's Cohen Evans backing off. He's going to fall in behind the 44. Now Buchanan's going to be the inside of Evans.
How much maneuverability is going to burn off in these cars using that inside line over the course of the run. I don't think it's late enough to really determine that. But Buchanan will tuck back in line and maybe try to conserve some stuff for later. I don't know if we're going to see a whole lot of lap time drop-off over the course of a run, so I'm not really sure if saving anything will do a whole lot for you, but down to the inside, he'll get a great run out of 4, and he clears the 17 on the front straight. Up front, Gonzalez just taking off right now. And looks like Cohen Evans has John Poole behind him, and there goes Poole to the inside down the back straight. 223 miles an hour off into turn 3 for John Poole.
Oh, you see Evans get a big run, almost hits Poole in the back, has to back off to make sure he doesn't make some contact.
Rodrigo Munoz is able to take advantage. Look at Riley Thompson, juking left and then back right to try to carry the momentum. And they're going to race off into turn 1 now, but John Poole up to 7th, capitalizing on the points leader's bad day. Riley Thompson has been stuck back here in 10th ever since he was battling for the lead earlier. That pit strategy put him off, and I'm worried about this 56 not being able to make passes. It seems like he's struggling right now.
Yeah, it looks like he's definitely struggling. Being in some dirty air was much better in front in clean air, and I think that could be the big difference here as you see Brophy get past Christopher Valenzuela, who I'm actually honestly surprised has not fallen off more than he has.
Yeah, again, Valenzuela's got about 7 or 8 more laps than anybody else right now on tires. And while it's going to lose him some time over the course of the run, this is certainly a strategy call that I like. Again, starting out the night with a crash was, might as well try something at this point.
Yeah, definitely cost him. It's going to cost him in the long run, but overall made a big gain getting into the front. Hasn't significantly lost position too, and it looks like he can hang around the 44. Maybe not in the corners, but definitely still in the straightaways.
Scott Taylor in the 95. We have not talked about this driver all night long. That is that purple car on the inside lane, and that's Vic Bloom on the outside. But Taylor started the night in 25th. He's slowly been clawing his way forward and staying out of trouble. I like the way this 95 car looks. Maybe not a race-winning car, but a solid top 10 car for sure.
And he's just kind of hanging out here, and really that's all you need to do, I think, for a while, as you're settling into a pretty good green flag run at the moment, as most of the field is single filed out, very little double file action, as you see Buchanan work to the inside of Valenzuela now.
Buchanan again could have won, or at least his teammates could have won at the Roval last week. Things didn't pan out, but really trying to get this team to victory lane in either the Cup Series or the Fuel Racetrack Designs IndyCar Series. I think he's got the speed, he just needs a little bit of luck and stop crashing, really. I mean, to put it frank, he's got the pace, especially at the road courses. When we go to Montreal, I really expect these Project 2 cars to be the ones to beat, and I'd be surprised if that wasn't the case. Valenzuela continues to lose spots, but again, this is something we expected. He'll pull out a line. I don't know if this is defensive or just to let the 32 car by.
I think it's probably to let the 32 on by. 32 can do much more on the outside lane. I think Valenzuela knows this. He's just trying to stay out of trouble here and tag along with these guys.
Vic Bloom and Scott Taylor trading spots for 11th place. Move the 95 up to P11 and then 99 back to P12. And back up for 4th place, Andrew Wood and Zach Buchanan now. Some good battles all within the top 10.
Wood to the outside. Whoa, almost wheeling each other.
Whoa, again! Maybe trying to side draft there from the 40. But some wheel to side contact there with the 40 Buchanan. That can go wrong extremely quickly. Let's get a quick look at what that looked like on board the right front of Zach Buchanan's car. Maybe actually the roll bar be a little bit better view of this.
Hits him in the side pod there. They went up in the corner. Doesn't look like there's a whole lot of damage to either of them, but that could have gotten very ugly very quickly.
A pretty dangerous strategy, but if it works, it works. Now, I would say that's definitely more of a stock car move, but hey, if you got the right front tire to spare, you might as well use a little bit, roughen up your opponent. Not necessarily something I would recommend. Cohen Evans and Riley Thompson. Evans has slipped back on this restart. Not exactly sure why, but it seems like he's losing pace as Thompson goes around.
He was definitely better in the last run, but not so much of this run. Even the beginning of this run, too, was much better off. Might have burned up his stuff a little bit. He's going to fall in behind. Riley Thompson, we'll see if he stays back here. Maybe tries to make a pass back on Thompson. But more or less, the top 10 have kind of broken away from the rest of the field, and more so the leader.
Second place battle now, Brophy and Nicholas Johnston. Johnson on the outside, Brophy on the inside. And the leader, Eric Gonzalez, is just checked out. He's that good, 1.5 seconds up the road.
And it's amazing, too, because remember, this is a fixed series. Everyone has the same exact setup in the car, and the fact that he's gotten a 1.5-second lead is pretty incredible.
Some side drafting here from Johnston, trying the same strategy we saw the 40 car play, but from the outside rather than the inside. And if you're on the inside, you have more control over the driver to your right than you do if you're on the outside and try to control the driver on your left. So Brophy gets on through to second. And now goes a little bit defensive, trying to snap the draft. Can't do it. Johnson pops back in line, back out again to take a look into 3.
See Brophy trying to pinch Johnston on down to the apron. Even down there, but that 28 got a really good run out of turn 4.
It's all happening about 15 car lengths behind the 42. 53 laps complete here of 156. If it goes green to the end, 59 minutes of racing remain. If we get another caution, we'll update you on exactly when that time limit will come into play, because I have a feeling it's going to play a factor.
It's definitely going to be close, because when I checked, I see Brophy go to the inside. Whoa, almost tries to go to the side draft. He'll go past Johnson in the corner, but we had, I believe, 115 minutes of server time for this race. So, by my calculations, the server should run till about 10:03, taking into account for gridding and that pace lap.
10:33, you mean?
No, 11.
11:03. That sounds about right. I was gonna say 10:03 is only about 6-7 minutes from now. So we ain't gonna get this race done.
Yeah. So at 11:03, these guys have till by ATVO's estimations, it's going to take another 15 minutes. So very close.
Yeah, it's going to be close. If we get another caution, we'll almost certainly be time constrained rather than lap constrained, as Brophy and Johnson have not stopped their fight, and Andrew Wood is beginning to track them down, and he's dragging in Zach Buchanan with him. So the battle for second is quickly going to be just between second and third, and they're going to bring in fourth and fifth here shortly.
Yeah, Eric Gonzalez is going to love this, a four-way battle for second place, while these guys are worried about each other. He's just driving up into the distance.
Field is now really separated out, and passing is going to be extremely challenging as we go off into this run. Now, earlier I said that we wouldn't see a lot of lap time drop-off. Well, I'm eating my words now. If we take a look at our best lap times of the race, the leader's best lap was a 33.465. Last time through, we ran a 32.314. So that's almost a full second off the pace. So I'm saying we're getting a lot more drop-off than I thought we would see, and that's certainly going to influence the long-term strategy here. Also, I guess how much of that is draft-related.
Definitely these guys are going to be experiencing a lot of aero push. If you're stuck in behind someone, they're going to be running at tires at a significantly higher rate. So it's best to get some cleaner. You can see Buchanan just riding a lane up on wood just to get some cleaner to make his tires work less through the corner. You see him go, whoa! Actually hits the wall out of 4.
That was real tight for the 40 car. I don't know if did he get it?
I think he tapped it a little bit.
Right on board and see if we can get a better look at it.
And this is what I thought would be a bigger problem. Hasn't been as much of a problem as I thought tonight so far, but.
Oh yeah, he got it.
Tapped it a little bit. Luckily he didn't dent anything in.
That should be fine. Vic Bloom a little slow through, I believe this is 1 and 2, and that's going to let Philip Clark on by. Brian Harris right behind. We mentioned he did a great job avoiding that wreck earlier tonight, although doesn't really seem to have a ton of pace to be able to go fight up inside the top 10, but a good top 15 run so far.
Looks like there's a battle between 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. A little pack going on here. Oh, and actually, Zach Buchanan down on pit road.
Oh, yeah. So this is it. I don't know if this. Oh, no.
Oh, I think he might have actually hit. He got more damage than we thought he did.
I don't know. I didn't see him hit again.
Well, I think with that hit on the wall, that might have hurt the car enough. Actually, let's go back on the straightaway.
Front straight?
Actually, on the back straightaway would be better.
We'll just ride here and we'll see what happens here. So. Steering wheel looks straight to me, but maybe there was some drag issues. His car's not turning at all. See all the ground he lost.
So go now to Andrew Wood right in front of him to see kind of.
Doesn't look off to me, but I mean maybe he's feeling something inside that car that we didn't. But it's going to be another retirement for a Project 2 car, and that Airbus machine is out for the night, along with Ben Fuller, Kite, Bommersbach, Byron Daly, Don Runkle Jr., Larkamp, and Roberts as the cars that will not finish this race tonight. That was a pretty minor incident to retire for, but I guess, like we said, perhaps something bigger that we can't see.
Yeah, it's hard to see it visually. Definitely the driver will be the one to tell you if something's knocked out of place or not, or if it's a lot worse than it looked. And unfortunately for that, it looked a lot worse than, it seems that it was worse than it actually looked.
I think what we're hearing is it was not damage related, it was more nature related. So, I mean, that's somehow a better story. But
you gotta do the James Hinchcliffe strategy.
Oh boy! Are you a real sim racer if you don't pee in your seat?
Oh god, I don't think your family would be happy with that. Just
buy yourself
especially if it's a family computer too.
Well, all right. Anyway, Eric Gonzalez, he was leading by 1.5 seconds. Look what it is now, 0.2 of a second. Jason Brophy has been reeling him in over 1/10 and a half of the lap. He's coming.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised at how quickly he's chased him back down. But once you get into that draft, it definitely helps to wheel the car in front of you back in. The only problem is that you catch him at a higher rate, but then you're stuck in this aero wash, and you really can't do much, especially with one time.
Yeah, he had to lift big time out of turn 4, but again, he's going to gain a lot on the straights. Still quicker that time through by over 1/10 again. A 34.351 to Brophy's 34.290. So you see all the ground he loses on corner exit right here, but he's still gaining as a whole. Battle for the lead, Vic Bloom in the 99, out of control. This is at the exit of 2. He hangs on.
Sideways off of turn 2.
I saw him slow, and he managed to hang on to it, but I think it was to the inside of somebody, and he's going to get down and just clip the apron. We've seen that be a challenge tonight for drivers.
Ooh, yeah, and it went pretty far sideways, did a fantastic job saving it.
For the lead, here comes Brophy in the 44. Gonzalez has been the incumbent up front tonight. It's been hard to wrestle him out of that spot, but I think Brophy's going to vote him off the island here in a moment. Scott Taylor, I think he's got trouble on the back straight.
Whoa,
he saves it. Same situation, I imagine, but for the lead, here comes Brophy down to the inside. He's going to clear Gonzalez and go to the lead.
I think Gonzalez knows that he's fighting a losing battle, going to let the 44 on by and just take the draft. And just kind of ride in behind the 44 until they start making their pit stop.
I think we're seeing why. Take a look at the stints there, Finian. 35 to 43, an 8-lap difference. Certainly proving itself to be a much bigger gap than it was at the beginning of the run. Valenzuela down pit lane. I think we're going to see some green flag pit stops now.
I think this is definitely, remember, he was about, I think, 7 laps more on these guys, so maybe probably about 5 actual racing laps in there. 5 or 4, so these guys are going to be coming in within the next 5 to 10 laps at least.
So keeping an eye on our leaders, who's going to be the next one to come on down. Philip Clark and Scott Taylor fighting for 10th. We saw Taylor almost lose control out of turn 2. Did a good job hanging on. Cohen Evans hits pit lane in the number 17.
So a lot more guys starting to hit down. You'll see Vic Bloom not too surprised. He went for a little half spin off of turn 2. I think he decided now it's a good time to get some tires.
So Brophy now stretching out his lead. If I'm Jason Brophy, I'm loving what I'm seeing right now. I got an 0.8 of a second lead. It's 1.4 back to third. If I'm Brophy, I just run this thing out of gas. I would just run to the end of the run and try to pull the overcut on everybody. Seems like tires are playing in huge at the end of a run here.
I think also, too, it depends on if these guys are hitting their magic numbers as far as, you know, getting the most out of each stint. Eric Gonzalez down on pit lane for him. I think these guys are coming in a lot earlier than they need to. At least the first few guys we're seeing on down. Majority of the field still staying out running.
Yeah, again, if I'm Jason Brophy, I'm just going to run this car out of fuel. Andrew Wood sitting in second place now. I guess his strategy is kind of dependent on those that were around him before, not necessarily what the leader does. Nicholas Johnston in third. Kind of play off of what Wood's doing. This is the advantage. I mean, if you're Jason Brophy, you can't react to something anybody else is doing. I mean, you're the leader, so they can react to what you're doing. You can't do it the other way around. So I think Brophy's just got to commit to his own ways.
Actually, looks like we've got a battle heating up for fourth place between John Poole and Riley Thompson. Thompson closing in on the 23 car.
0.3 of a second separate them right now. And this is an easy gap to overcome in the pit. So does Thompson come on down a lap sooner than who will eventually be our points leader after tonight with Kite Bommersbach buried down in 25th. There was only a 4-point difference, so certainly John Poole is leading the points right now. 0.2 of a second now as Thompson tries to reel in the 23.
This is still, no matter what happens tonight, John Poole definitely going to benefit out of this beating. Obviously going to be Kite Bommersbach, is going to finish down at 25th. That's going to be a very big points gain for over him, and also too for Stephen Larkamp, who's going to finish back in 28th retired. So he's going to gain over his 2 closest competitors in the points by quite a bit. This should be a very good race. All he has to do is just finish in the top 10. Solid day.
Well, this is what I was saying earlier about Stephen Larkamp. I mean, had he been in Poole's position right now, he could certainly eat up almost all of that deficit. with the, if the two championship leaders had issues. But the problem is one of them had issues. The other one is running very, very well right now. So Larkamp's differential to the points leader is going to be an even bigger deficit after tonight as things are.
But he's not entirely in the clear just yet, because if you look at who's in the lead, and if you can actually bring that points graphic back up, he's a little bit ways behind, 148 points back, but we're just halfway through the season. And if he can get some good, we definitely know this 44 has some pace. If he can get enough good finishes over the 23, he could challenge him by the end of the season.
Again, it's all about consistency in this series. I don't think winning races is going to help you if you're going to crash out of every other one. You need to be consistent. I think that's what Brophy's been trying to do lately. He's been kind of inside the top 10, top 5, but this is the first time we've really seen him with a race-winning car recently. And
the big thing too is that Roval got 100 points for winning this race. Pool only 74, based off the points that they run. But here comes Nicholas Johnson.
How's that point system set up again?
V8 Supercars.
That's right.
Both the Cup Series and the IndyCar Series are using that.
Makes the Cup Series points, like the real-life Cup Series points, look simple.
It's funny because it reminds me of the older points.
It does, where you got it was like 112 points or whatever.
Yeah, guys would finish in the thousands.
So Brophy continues to lead the way. Let's take a look at the number of laps he's been out. 42 laps. We know the drivers can go at least a little bit more than that.
So Brophy and a few others definitely running the tank out.
So everyone's going to have to stop another time from here regardless.
Yes.
So I guess it doesn't really matter when you pit. It's just trying to figure out who's it going to benefit if you pit now, yourself or somebody else. Philip Clark on pit lane with the number 11. Green flag pit stop strategy underway. We have not really seen this race bunch up and pack race as much as we have in the past. And I guess some of that would be no surprise considering the track conditions, but also how much of that is the lower downforce car?
Yeah, I think that's definitely quite a bit of it. You know, with the DW12, that car had a lot more downforce. The only problem was that it had a much bigger aero wash, because obviously it had more downforce, so a much bigger hole in the air. They try to resolve it with this car, making it a lot more streamlined and not having to rely on a lot less downforce. The problem is you have less downforce, but you ride a little bit better in behind someone, but you have less downforce to work with the corner. So it really hurts on a long run like this when the tires are worn out, so you start to struggle. And some drivers like it, some drivers don't.
Well, I think the difference, the key difference between these cars and perhaps the stock cars on a high downforce package is these cars, they don't have, their mechanical grip, they make quite a bit of it, but I'd say the aero, even though it's a low downforce package, it's still prevalent. The problem is you don't have enough downforce to overcome that lack of grip that you get from the aero wash of the driver in front. So at short tracks, I think this package has definitely been an improvement. I think you could argue for the large ovals, it has taken a step backward in some regard, at least in terms of drivers being able to make moves. But I think a lot of drivers would argue that this is probably more fun because you get a little bit more skill involved. But again, that's the big discussion, especially on the NASCAR side right now.
Jason Brophy down on pit lane, so the leader's coming in, and it looks like Victor Valley is going to inherit the lead if he stays on. Indeed he does, so he'll lead this lap.
And lap sled, very important, of course, but Scott Taylor in pit lane, Woody Mahan in his 8 car.
Yeah, I haven't talked about him tonight so far. He's been running in the back, but is expected to come down into pit road fairly soon.
For the next couple of laps for sure. John Wilco, kind of in the same boat right now. So 75 laps complete. We're almost halfway. This is a long one tonight, Finian. 46 minutes of racing remaining if we're to go green to the end. And I think now will probably be a pretty good time to crank it up to a little SimTV sound search. Cohen Evans trying to chase down Riley Thompson at the exit of turn 2, but he saw how much the aero launch is affecting these cars, struggling to make passes right now, but we kind of had the field cycle out here, Finian, but Jason Brophy was still able to come out on top in front of Eric Gonzalez, so I think the 42 might be the fastest car on equal tires, all things equal, but the 44 has got the strategy played out a lot better right now.
Yeah, and actually, Eric Gonzalez was at one point 0.2 of a second behind Brophy, but that, when we started that sound surge, now it's down to 1.7 and expanding quite rapidly. So interesting to see how this all played out with the strategy calls here by some of these drivers.
Yeah, again, we expected this race to kind of get into a long green flag run. I just don't know if we quite expected it to really be this tire strategy dependent. This is looking a lot more like a stock car race at a place like Atlanta than it is anything else. So some shifting and shuffling going on in the field, but how about a battle for 9th? Here's Scott Taylor, Victor Vallée, and Vic Bloom. It's Valley, I think, not Vallée. I think he might have corrected me about this last week. And here comes Valley to the outside lane, off into turn 1.
Taylor's been having a significantly better run. He's up inside the top 10, trying to defend 10th from that 7 car on the outside as he gets a run.
Side pod to side pod down the back straightaway. See Vic Bloom right behind. Vic was another driver we've kind of seen creep inside the top 5 tonight, but really hasn't been able to stay there. Led some laps. Led 4 of them tonight. And it's still up 9 spots from a starting spot at 20th, but doesn't really seem to have the strategy sorted out at least as good as the front 3 do. All Jason Brophy out front.
Yeah, 3-second gap now.
And it's really only going to get bigger because he was one of the last drivers to pit.
The difference in times is 5/10 over the last lap, so it's expanding at a very significant rate. Even in comparison to Nicholas Johnson, too, who's running only 2/10 faster than Gonzalez.
How about a driver we haven't mentioned tonight, Mike Hurley in the 33, still in this race running 14th. This is a good run for him right now. They got the Textron Aviation on the side pod of that car.
Yeah, he's 2.2 seconds behind Woody Mahan up the road. It's got a little bit of work to do to catch the 8 car, but yeah, really good run for Mike Hurley, starting 22nd, up in 14th at the moment.
Gained 8 spots on the night. How about Valley and Taylor? Not done yet. 0.4 of a second separate them, but I think that we're going to see the passing get more and more difficult as the run goes on. I think the tire strategy is going to be what wins you this race. But take a look at how dark this pavement is in, let's get a better look at turn 2 here. So what I want to do is I want to show you this, and I want to show it to you during practice earlier. So if we can go back to practice tonight, or earlier tonight, there is what the track looked like before. And there's what the track looks like now. It's a huge difference in rubber, and that middle groove is really the best place to be at the moment.
You see pretty much everyone maybe a little bit above it, but most of the guys are right in that groove and just riding it around. That's where the grip is at the moment.
And Rodrigo Munoz on the inside lane right against... Now, interesting to note that the rubbered in line is right against the bottom of the racetrack in 3 and 4. If we can even see that. You know, it's right on the bottom in 3 and 4, but 1 and 2, it seems like it's a little bit higher up the racetrack. This place looks at first glance symmetrical. Does it drive that way?
I think really the big thing is that while the turns themselves are equal on both ends, the problem is that when you're coming out of turn 2, it's a much tighter exit than coming out of 4, and I think that's what forces drivers to drive it different. Also, too, an entry, it's a much easier entry to the corner rather than turn 3, which is much tighter of an entry.
Nicholas Johnston is going to get by Gonzalez for 2nd place to move the most led driver back to P3, and he's struggling right now, and got a little ways back to Riley Thompson, but long run is not going to look good for the 42.
And this is the problem. I think Brophy really caught Gonzalez out on the strategy, because remember, we weren't sure when that last caution was going to fly, and I'm pretty sure Brophy and a couple others came to the pits on that last caution that we had. While Gonzalez did not, so it was a few laps difference in tires, but it's cost Gonzalez 5 seconds.
So it's been half an hour since we last went green. It was at 9:46 p.m. It's now 10:15 on the Eastern Coast. So it's been a long time since we've dropped the green flag last. So it means we've had about a half an hour fuel run, maybe a little bit less than that. But how about this? Woody Mahan and Vic Bloom going at it for 12th, or for 11th rather, excuse me.
Yeah, they're having a great scrap, and really the big thing too is a lot of guys are on a lot of different strategies, so you have to kind of keep track of around where guys came in, and if you're faster than the guy in front of you on tires, you see Vic will make a big dive to the inside of Woody Mahan.
Trying to gain any ground you can at the moment, but for Brophy, a 5-second lead and growing at the front of the field. Johnson, Gonzalez, Thompson, Poole, your top 5, then Evans, Wood, Valenzuela, Valley, Taylor, your rest of your top 10. It's a great 3-car battle for 11th place at the moment. Closest battle on the racetrack. Here comes Rodrigo Munoz out to the left. About 5 car lengths between them and Mahan.
You see Big Bloom leaving some room there for Munoz as
he's
he
gonna
comes
need
up
it.
the track.
Yeah, he got right down to that white line and couldn't quite keep the car stuck down there, so he drifted up, and good on Bloom for leaving him the space. Needed almost all of it. Vic Bloom's night, we mentioned this earlier, he's led 4 laps, but another driver that has kind of seemed to stagnate where he's running. Now, one driver that was doing that earlier that has found his way back inside the top 5 is Riley Thompson. Led a couple laps tonight, started in 2nd, was kind of mired back in 10th place for about 50 laps, but now has that car pointed in the right direction and is currently the fastest car inside not only the top 5, but the top 10. So looking really good right now.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how far up the order he can get. He's definitely going to catch Gonzalez, as Gonzalez is pretty off the pace at the moment, but if he'll be able to get him to 2nd or 1st, not entirely sure just yet.
Munoz and Bloom, they're continuing their fight. 89 laps into this 156 lap race. 37 minutes of racing remaining if it were to go green to the end. And the fight continues for 12. Right on board here with the 09 of Munoz. So we'll just get an idea of the speed that you're carrying around here and see how much he's lifting in the corners. We're only a couple laps into this run, but I imagine it's probably more significant than one would think.
You see him getting a run on Big Bloom's inside. He'll go get to about 218, 220 into the corners. They're going to back down to just below 200 miles an hour. Actually, no, it doesn't drop below in turns 3 and 4. So that's what's talking about how they drive a little bit differently. You're going to have to let up a lot more in turns 1 and 2 than 3 and 4.
Valenzuela with some juking back out to the right. How about Valenzuela and Mahan up the road? Or excuse me, that is Scott Taylor and Valenzuela. And again, the strategy call earlier for this 3 cars worked out impeccably inside the top 10 after being what could have been a race-ending crash earlier. But up the road, how about Andrew Wood and Cohen Evans for 6th?
These guys starting to go at it. Evans to the inside, Wood to the outside. Looks like Wood's going to win out on that battle for now. You can see also Valley in behind him.
So Jason Brophy leading this race by almost 6 seconds. As we talk about the championship picture, consistency is the key. We'll take a look at the point standings as he walked into the night again. He comes into the night 148 points back from Kite Bomber's spot. Do you think there's a chance that this 44 car, if he has runs almost like this for the next couple weeks, that he could be up there fighting Kite? Because, I mean, again, Kite Bomber's spot, he's won a race recently. He's on a tear. But I'm concerned that maybe some momentum will get kind of shuffled out of the way. We head to another road course soon. I think it's actually next week. Montreal's coming up soon. And then Watkins Glen's up there as well. I'm not sure that Kite will do quite as well there, but we'll see.
Actually, we go to Kentucky next week.
Oh, Kentucky. Okay, so Kentucky, I see that being a good Kite Bomber's Bach race, but the consistency for the 44 is really what I'm focused on, because I do think he can make up that ground if he is consistent. If you get yourself in a wreck, I think it's game over at this late in the season. Victor Valley and Cohen Evans, 7th place. And Vic Bloom and Munoz, these guys have got to be getting tired of each other. I mean, how much does that weigh in on your strategy decisions? I mean, if you're Munoz, are you frustrated with this, or are you using this as an opportunity to save fuel?
Yeah, I mean, you can really go either way. It really depends on where he's at as far as fuel. I don't think fuel is going to be a factor for these guys. I think they got enough in the tank left. Obviously, you have to see if that actually is what it is. But if he needs to save fuel, this is a good benefit for him to stick him behind as you see that Eric Gonzalez back down on pit road.
So my question to you is, why now? You can't make it to the end from here, or can you? 60 laps seems like a lot to go.
He might. I kind of doubt it, but he might. Because, let's see. Because I think if he could have gone 60 laps, he wouldn't have come in that early for the first stop. But yeah, he's getting service to his car here. I don't know what he's got up his sleeve, but it looks like he's just trying something. Down on the jacks he will go and will come out. A little bit of spin off out of his pit box, but away he'll go back in 18th, 1 lap down.
Now, if he gets a caution, this is going to hurt him badly because he's stuck a lap down. And Brophy has lapped him by quite a big margin. So
what that tells me is that these guys definitely have to make another stop. Oh, they definitely do have to make a stop. I'm guessing
the other drivers have been out for 20 laps. They can go another 20 easily. That will get you to lap 115 or so. That will get you there to the end plenty well.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm kind of curious on the strategy call by Gonzalez, but I guess trying something.
Well, Brian Harris is also down on pit lane in the 73, so I guess he's not alone in this strategy decision. But I just don't think we'll see the front runners come anytime soon. So maybe they're splitting this last run into 2 sections.
That's what I was going to say. Unless he feels that maybe the leaders have to come in for 2 more stops.
I don't think they will.
Stop early.
I think they're plenty good on fuel if they just go 1 more. I think he's definitely not necessarily safe. So I think he was forced to with his earlier pit stops. He's kind of forced into the strategy. I don't think it was much of a choice. But I think, again, we'll take a look at the stint graphic again. 23 laps in. These guys can easily go another 20 laps. Lap, 118 or so. So that to me doesn't seem like a big deal. So what's your thought? I mean,
I don't know. I'm a bit surprised with it. I'm trying to make sense out of it.
I think Gonzalez was forced into the strategy because remember he had about 5-10 lap older run than anybody else, so I don't think he would have been able to do the 1 stopper regardless. I think he locked himself in from that early pit stop earlier in this race. So, I mean, he made his bet earlier, has to lay in it now. Cohen Evans, Scott Taylor, trading spots for 7th place, or trying to at least.
Harris has been making a very slow and steady climb up the order up into 7th place. So good run for the 95. His next target is Valley up ahead in 6th.
So now that the field's spread out, though, it's all focused on strategy. I don't think you're racing each other so much as you are racing yourself and racing the racetrack. The track conditions have changed quite a bit. We've dropped about 6 or 7 degrees from the start of the night. So while it's still hot out there, we've rubbered up the racetrack. We got more grip. It means that fall off should be a little bit less later in the run. But how about Nicholas Johnston coming on down?
They're definitely gonna. I feel like the leaders are gonna have to come in for 2 stops. Maybe not Brophy.
Yeah, I don't think Brophy does. And
some of these other guys, I think they know that they're gonna be short, so they're just gonna come in.
Cohen Evans certainly can't go the rest of the way on 1 more. So I think anybody with 25 or 26 or fewer laps on their tank can go easily on 1 more stop.
So you're gonna need to make it to 116 to make it.
Oh, Cohen Evans is coming in now, which is expected.
Yeah. So this is really turning out to be interesting. So Brophy, if he can go to 116, which is 15 more laps,
which he should be able to do easily. That'll put him at 41 in the run.
Yeah, and we've seen people go that maybe if he has to save a little bit, he can. So I think he's good. If he can make it a 1 stop, he's definitely good for winning this race. I think so. Looking at Brophy, Thompson, Poole, Wood, they're all on that same strategy. Even Valley, Taylor. Everyone else behind kind of has to make an extra stop compared to the leaders. And again, this is all coming down to when those guys made their last pit stop on that yellow. It's really hurting a lot of these guys because they're making an extra pit stop under the green.
Again, I think they were banking on some more cautions, getting him back on strategy that did not happen. So now it becomes the strategy race to the end, and Jason Brophy is clearly sitting in the best spot of anybody right now as Valley and Wood trade spots for 4th.
Yeah, and it really is, calling something like that, it really is like the lottery. You just don't know what's going to happen, and you just got to hope that you made the right call. And the guys who did pit under the caution, looking like they made the right call. The guys that did not, looks like they're kind of struggling and suffering for it.
This might be a situation where Brophy laps the field. That sort of situation.
Yeah, he's 10 seconds ahead of 2nd place. It's a very big gap.
Riley Thompson, by the way. So, I mean, is there anything Thompson can do other than just run the 44 down? I think he's pretty much locked in this.
I think he's more focused on the guy behind him. John Poole is a much more bigger threat than trying to chase Brophy down, who's 9 seconds up the road. It's going to be a very tall order. I think if anything, Thompson, the only way he can get the lead is if a caution comes up, or if Brophy makes a mistake.
And the caution will certainly mess up any strategy that these guys had going. I don't think we're going to get one, at least not a multi-car accident. It might be a single-car spin, but that would certainly change the progression of this race. So lap 104 of 156. Getting down to the nitty-gritty of this one, our last pit stop expected in about 10 to 15 laps for the leaders. Everyone else still has to come down at an additional time, even though they've already lost a lap to leaders Brophy, Thompson, and Poole. Rodrigo Munoz and Vic Bloom, these guys have been tit for tat tonight, 9th and 10th. 0.2 of a second separating them. Valenzuela comes and hits pit lane from 8th. And here comes Vic Bloom.
Yep, expected both these guys. I think Bloom actually, I think he's coming a little bit early. I remember him pitting late in the last run. I might just be remembering that wrong.
A lot of cars in the field. It's easy to get it wrong, but he comes on down and will get service for his machine as well.
It's coming up on about 50 laps to go in this event.
Brophy's lead only continues to grow. John Poole in 3rd. Again, all he's got to do is finish this race and he's got the points lead. I think John Poole's mission is complete. Yeah. Avoid the wrecks, steal the points lead away, and head into next week at Kentucky strong, because I think he's good to go from there.
Yeah, I think really his only biggest threat is if Brophy can continue to get some extremely good finishes like this for the season. But he's, again, 148 points, if I'm not mistaken, behind the leader. So it's a tall order, but as long as Poole can get these really good finishes inside the top 10, top 5, just knocking out consistent finishes, you should be able to walk away as a champion.
Well, that's what we mentioned earlier, is that if Bommersbach and if Poole and if Larkamp get solid finishes, you're never going to make up ground. But if they have bad races, the points differential for first and last is so huge that this 178 lap or 178 point gap honestly isn't that big if you have a couple bad races. So Bommersbach and Poole have to be careful, but I think Poole's mission, like I said, is already complete tonight, as long as he can just finish this race out where he is.
What should I see Clifton Naranjo, because he's actually leading. When we started at Texas, didn't show up there and hasn't shown up for this race, so it's just been sliding down the order. And what could have been? It could have been in a decent fight between him and Poole, but Poole is going to keep a very solid points going next week.
Andrew Wood, how about the confidence boost for this guy right here?
Yeah.
Struggled in recent weeks. Not only in the Fuel RaceTrackDesigns IndyCar Series, but also in the MyLaps Indy Elite Series on Sunday nights. Just one bad race after another really destroyed the confidence in this 32. Almost hung up the helmet for the season, but decided to come on back at the Roval. Things didn't really not necessarily turn around there, but he's got this car going in the right direction, and running 5th right now has got to be a big step in the right direction for the 32 as he clips the apron there. I'm going to cut away from him before I give him the curse.
Yeah. We're going back to Brophy in that UPS car. Beautiful paint scheme.
It is a good-looking scheme. Reminds me of a lot of the David Rudiman and late Dale Jarrett schemes on the COT when they're on the Toyota. That was probably my favorite UPS scheme of all time. It was on that COT, the white one with the brown and gold thing on the side with the silver wheels.
Yes.
Yeah, good-looking car. I think you got to get going here shortly.
Oh, yeah, I actually kind of want to stay around. I really want to see where when Brophy comes in, so I'll leave in probably 2, 3, 4 minutes.
All right, well, Finian's got a MyLaps, or not a MyLaps, excuse me, a Lionheart Retro Series race coming up at 10:50. That'll be broadcasted on the iRacing Esports Network by the Global Sim Racing Network. So if you want to see Finian compete, where are you tonight?
We are at Sonoma.
Oh.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of aero push.
Yeah. So
I got to hope I qualify well, because I'm going to be out, which I'm probably not.
Let's just hope Finian drives half as well as he commentates, and then he might actually finish well. He's been finishing pretty decently recently.
Yeah.
That's fun.
I think that's probably going to end this week, but I'm going to try.
So he's going to have to bail, leaving me solo here for the last 40 or 50 laps of this race, unfortunately. Rodrigo Munoz and Mike Hurley hit pit lane. You wanted to wait and see where Brophy comes in. You have to wait a couple minutes longer. I expect him in the next 4 laps.
Yeah, I don't think he can go entirely a whole lot longer, but doesn't really need to. If he can go about 5 more laps, I think he's good for the rest of this race.
And no pressure at all from behind.
I'm just looking at that gap has not really changed at all between Brophy and Thompson. Remained at about 9.2, 9.3 seconds. Even Thompson's expanded that gap between himself and Poole to about 3 seconds. Actually, Valley and Poole fighting for a spot now for 3rd.
So on top of getting your pit stop, getting your pit stall and not giving up time there, pit lane exit. Don't want to go above that white line through the exit of turn 2. Stay below that line or you'll find yourself in trouble. Meanwhile, behind, Taylor and Wood fighting for 5th place. Taylor pops out of line. He's having a really good late race here.
He was one. I think he was one of the last guys to come down on pit roads. He has some of the freshest tires in the field. He's been taking really good advantage of it because he's got 5th, 4th, and 3rd directly ahead of him. So And he's definitely going to be good on fuel.
Yeah, driver earlier in this race really wasn't running all that well. Finds himself pretty deep inside the top 10 and actually fighting for a top 5 spot here with just over 40 laps to go. Brophy continues to lead 9.3 seconds out front, waiting for his pit stop to see where he ends up. But it's Riley Thompson in tow. Victor Valley in third place, John Poole, Andrew Wood, the rest of your top 5. And it's Taylor Mahan, Johnston, Wilco, and Eric Gonzalez. This is just strategy gone wrong for the 42. Yeah. I just don't see how this will work out for him.
Yeah, he needs a caution. Pretty much everyone that has to make an extra stop, him and Nicholas Johnston, they really need a caution. Come out to reset everything. Even Cohen Evans could throw him in there as well.
Andrew Wood and Riley Thompson have both hit pit lane from 2nd and 5th.
I think they're good to the end.
They will be good to the end because it's 42 laps. They can easily go that. Now Jason Brophy hits pit lane, so one-stop strategy for the 44. This might, for a short time, turn the lead over to the 42 of Eric Gonzalez, but the long-term game going to change significantly. Finian's got to go, so it's just me from here on out. Good luck, Finian. Don't crash. Again, that race will be visible on the Global Sim Racing Network at 10:50. Actually, excuse me, iRacing Esports Network at 10:50 p.m. So Brophy comes in for his stop on lap 115 with 42 laps to go. Eric Gonzalez in the 42 running through 3 and 4. Carrying all the speed he can. As Brophy launches off the pit lane, here they come. Gonzalez is going to have the lead for a moment. If he gets a caution within the next couple laps, his strategy will be saved, but otherwise, he's going to have to make an extra pit stop and it will put him way down. But Brophy's going to come out, and they're going to be side by side on the back straightaway. There goes Gonzalez, side pod to side pod, as Gonzalez takes what will be the lead away for a short time being, but it won't be for long. Brophy's got to play the long game here. I don't think there's any stress in the 44 camp right now. He's going to blow right back by Gonzalez. Gonzalez goes defensive on the front straight. Woody Mahan heads to pit lane in the number 8 car as Brophy tries to find a way around Gonzalez. And all Gonzalez can do is try to keep that 44 behind him, make him burn up his stuff. I just don't think he'll have enough tire to even keep him from doing that. But for now, it has actually held the 44 in behind. So Gonzalez will stay hanging on to 3rd as Nicholas Johnston rides around up in 2nd. Victor Valley up in the lead. And defense is all Gonzalez can afford right now. A caution would save this strategy for the 42. Still in tow, 3rd and 4th, Gonzalez and Brophy. John Wilco hits pit lane in the number 62 car. About 23 minutes of racing remaining. If we go green to the end, I don't think we'll see another caution. Earlier this race, we had 4 cautions for a total of 13 laps, but they were all within the first 25. Victor Valley hits pit lane. We've had 12 lead changes so far, and more still to come at the front of the field as Nicholas Johnston still needs to come down another time. Johnston leads the way. You see a fight in front of them. That is Brian Harris getting on by. No, that was not for position. And Gonzalez and Brophy still tucked in line. So Gonzalez doing a great job holding Brophy back in the dirty air and preventing the advance of that number 44 car. So we're expecting to see Nicholas Johnston on pit road anytime soon to maximize the life of the tires. He's been out on these tires for 20 laps. There's about 36, 37 laps to go, so maybe another 5 to 10 laps before we see that 28 car hit pit lane. But as we wait for things to play out, we'll do another SimTV Sound Surge. We're joined now by the Project 2 teammates Mitch Welker and Zach Buchanan. Guys, tonight, not really the race you guys wanted again, but this race has been extraordinarily interesting. We've seen a lot of different strategies play out on the racetrack. Two-stopper to the end, that's what Eric Gonzalez is on, but looks like Jason Brophy, Riley Thompson, and others are on a one-stop strategy to the end. What would you think will happen here if we get a caution?
Well, I think it's going to be all about fuel from this point, because right now we're just past the point where you can make it to the end on fuel, just about. So from here on out, it's just, if there's another caution, it's going to throw whoever's doing a one-stop strategy out of the loop.
Right. So we've seen tonight that over the course of the run, we've seen a lot of tire fall off in this car, and this is not something I've seen at the other intermediate racetracks this season. It seems like over the course of the run, the cars lose handling, but not a lot of time. How much did the car change over the course of the run, and where did the balance shift to over the course of that run?
Well, I was following someone for most of my run, so it was hard to judge there, but the car felt really understeered, lots of barrel push, and the tires really didn't help from that. I wouldn't say they're getting loose at all. I can't speak from experience right now because I didn't get a long green run with clean air, but yeah, it's right now I'm sure the drivers are having to manage understeer, especially on the exit of turn 4 where the wall gets so close to you so quickly. With the temperatures the track are right now, it's got to be tough out there.
Is that the experience that you've had this season as well, Mitch, is over the course of the run? Has the fuel burn-off been a significant change in the handling as well?
I can't say as much for the ovals, but definitely for the road side, I'd say fuel burn plays a pretty big factor. I'm not sure that matters as far as Fontana today, but for the most part on ovals, it's about managing the tires more than fuel, I've seen.
Of course, the Project 2 teammates have not really had the greatest of races the last couple rounds. Of course, the Roval was a tough one for you guys, but heading to a couple racetracks in the next few weeks that I expect will be good for you guys, Montreal, as well as Watkins Glen. Your expectations and thoughts before we head to the next couple road courses on the schedule?
Well, you saw what happened at the Roval, and obviously it's a disappointment, but I'm not giving in. I love driving this car on road. It's one of the things I'm best at in the sim, so I'm going 110% for CGV. I've been testing and practicing and just hoping to put out my best there and see if I can pull out a win.
On my end, I'm more looking to the oval side. I nearly won the last race we did at Kentucky, so I'm excited to try and take that one back.
Yeah, I remember that race from last season. I think that was actually the last IndyCar race from last season we broadcasted on Sim TV. Well, guys, I know. I think so. Yeah, tonight wasn't exactly the greatest night for Buchanan. Did you actually have to use the bathroom? Is that why you had to go?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
nature was calling.
Oh, boy. Well, it was a good run up until that point, Zach. But we did see you scrape the wall beforehand. How sensitive are these cars to wall contact, and did that really hurt the car at all?
Probably not that one that time, and even with my little run-in with Andrew, I don't think anything much happened. But, if you hit the wall much harder than I did that time, it's going to hurt your straight-line speed, especially.
And one last question I wanted to ask you guys. In terms of the points picture, obviously Kite Bombers, Bach, John Poole, Larkamp, and now Brophy are all looking like the drivers to beat in the championship. But as we head to really to split up the rest of the schedule on road courses versus ovals, do you guys have any predictions on which of those drivers will be the best? Because I'm having a hard time picking one out because every single week it's been somebody different.
From my perspective, Brophy and Kite are really both strong on road courses, so...
got a crash. Crash on the racetrack, guys. And I think it is... Was it the Eric Gonzalez machine? It was.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Eric Gonzalez crashed out of the race on lap 130. The caution out. Now, how does that change the strategy? I think everybody comes to pit lane here, no?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
This should be good on fuel to the end of the race.
This is the neutralizing point of the race right here.
So right now, anyone who's up front right now is in a really good position.
Oh, there was contact between Gonzalez and the 28 of Nicholas Johnson off into turn number 1. And it was pretty heavy contact that sent the 42 into the fence. And I just can't help but think last season at Pocono, a very similar situation took Gonzalez out of the running there as well.
Yeah.
His luck is terrible. He's very fast on oval. I got to give him that. But, God, he just doesn't have the luck.
Yeah, and looking again, I mean, to me... This is on the 28, but again, two cars just going for the middle of the racetrack. It seems like that's where the rubber is kind of found itself, but I think there's still some grip on the bottom that the 28 could have used, but I think there'll be some disagreement over some real estate there and maybe some discussion post-race, but certainly heartbreaking for the 42.
I'm seeing the replay now. That's just, I would call that a racing deal personally. It's just bad luck, poor timing from both of them, and it sucks for Eric, but I wouldn't say they're really either to blame.
Absolutely. So, guys, I want to thank you for coming in here and joining us real quick, but hopefully you guys will get your luck turned around in the next couple weeks, and good luck at CGV and Watkins Glen, as well as Kentucky next week.
Hope it's over.
All right.
Thanks.
All
right, thanks, Scott.
Yep, we'll see you guys later.
See ya.
All right, so that was the Project 2 teammates as they come on down into pit lane. One of the drivers that led the most laps tonight, Eric Gonzalez, out on lap number 42. Not the way he wanted to end tonight. And we're going to try to see if we can get Eric Gonzalez to talk to real quick. And while we're waiting for everyone to come down pit lane and get their final, what should be the final stops of the night. I don't think we'll see people pit. I think track position is going to be too important after this point in the race. But this is going to be a big moment for Jason Brophy. Is he going to roll out in the lead? He will. Nicholas Johnston in the 28 stays out on the racetrack for the time being. Riley Thompson out of pit lane in second. Cohen Evans, John Poole, Andrew Wood, Victor Valley, Valenzuela, Taylor, and Mahan, the rest of your top 10. They're joined now by Eric Gonzalez, driver of the number 42 car tonight. Eric, a disappointing end of the evening. Crashed in turn 1. What was your take on that incident?
I mean, it was just a stupid move on Nick's part. I mean, that whole race I made moves that were probably a little bit more low down than that, and I don't see why he felt the need to just push up the track into my side pod. But overall, I think it was a good race. It was definitely what I wanted to see. I felt like early on I was able to get into a rhythm and just kind of pull away. I think later on we just kind of got screwed over by that one pit stop. I should have maybe pit, should have not. I don't know. It's one of those things where it's just like, maybe not. I don't know. But yeah, overall, it sucks that we got taken out like that. Just seems like it's a constant shriek at this point, and hopefully one day we'll be able to break it.
Well, that's the thing I was going to mention, was it seems like every time we go to these big racetracks, whether it be Pocono or Michigan or Auto Club, it seems like your name always kind of rises to the top. Is there a different way of driving these cars at the big tracks versus the small ones, or do you think it just happens to be coincidence that you find yourself at the top of the board at these bigger tracks?
I don't know. I think it fits what I like to do. I've always been a fan of the high-speed ovals, especially in the Indy cars. I don't think that I think when you go to a track like Iowa especially is more of a it's kind of like Auto Club, but shrunk. Probably going to anger somebody out there, but I don't think specifically there's something that comes here than the short tracks, but I think when it comes to short tracks, there's a lot more like I guess road racing stuff you got to do, and I'm not particularly good at the road racing, so maybe that has something to do with it. But yeah, on the high-speed ovals like here, Kentucky, Texas, I don't know. I think there's just something that gels with me.
There was also a discussion earlier tonight that Finney and I were having about the DW12 versus the IR18 and how it races on these bigger tracks. Do you prefer one or the other, and why?
I don't have necessarily a lot of experience with the DW12, but I prefer this car over what I have had. Just because I think this car, it takes a little bit more, I don't know, finesse to drive, because you got to be ahead. With the DW12, it was just all downforce. There was big aero push, but really you could get away with, kind of, if you messed up, you had the downforce to save you. This car, there's a little bit less of that, so you kind of have to be more in control.
Well, I guess you're crashed out. Finian had to run away because he actually has a race he's doing in a couple minutes on GSRC. So if you want to stay up here and chat, you're welcome to stay for the remainder of the race if you'd like. But otherwise, thanks for talking to us, and unfortunate again for your result. But hopefully you get that luck turned around soon.
Yeah, I guess I'll stay up here. Got nothing better to do.
All right, well, so for the restart here, we're going to have just over 20 laps to go. Nicholas Johnston leads the way. I'm taking a look at the stints. Johnston's got 6 laps on his tires. Everyone else has just come down. Is that a big enough difference? Because I think earlier we've seen 15 to 20 laps be a big enough difference to really show a difference in speed, but 5 to 10 laps seems like it's okay. What are your thoughts on that?
I think at this stage, when it's just 5 laps, I don't think that the new tires will particularly be that big of a deal. But I think once you start to get towards the end of a run, that's when it really starts to hit, because, you know, that tire wear, it just kind of compounds itself. So.
All right, so gearing up for the restart. It'll be about 13 minutes of racing remaining. 12 laps will be the number that we have to complete. And your thoughts, are we predicting a caution? Because I think everyone was, kind of in a calm before the storm state with everyone all spread out, and I think everyone's going to get exceptionally greedy. Your thoughts on that?
Talking to my teammate Jason Brophy here, P2 at the moment, he was saying that at this point it's just going to be all out. Everybody's out for just themselves. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of looking here as they come to the green flag.
All right, green flag back in the air here at Auto Club. 12 laps to go when Brophy fires off trying to chase Nicholas Johnston. Behind them a scatter on the front straight. As Cristobal Valenzuela, he was crashed earlier tonight. He's rebounded back to 8th place. Can he gain anything these last couple laps that I'm watching to see if this 44 can build a run? And how about Riley Thompson in this 56? He's also really improved his performance lately, and maybe he's got something for win. Here comes Brophy down the inside.
Welcome to make it 3 wide, possibly. No, they're not. Brophy to the lead.
Brophy to the top spot right now. Johnson in second, but here comes Thompson. Look to the outside lane. Johnson shut the door, swings down low. Remember, Thompson almost got penalized for passing below that white line earlier. Here comes Johnson down. Again, looking 3 wide for a moment. Thompson trying to gain some ground on that second place car, but I think we might see some swapping back and forth, at least for a couple laps. Look at them chasing each other down the back straightaway.
Probably going to go low here. The low line was definitely the line you wanted to take. The outside just doesn't have the grip, especially on corner exit. Mid-corner, it starts to lose grip. Mid-exit, it starts to gain that back up, but then the exit, it just all falls away. So then Johnson going to go to the outside here as they go down.
Oh, contact! They're crashing together! Huge impact to the inside wall, and just like that, the 2 front runners destroyed and out of the race with 20 laps to go. I think I said 12 earlier, Eric, so I apologize for that math mistake there. But Johnston crashed out, Brophy as well. Oh my goodness. And you said it, they had to go all out, and they did. Your thoughts on that, looking at the replay?
You know, it's hard to say. I think looking at it, it looks like Brophy might have come up the track a bit, but it also looks like Johnston might have gone down there. I think that was just one of those things, racing incident.
Yeah, they just kind of come together. I don't really think we can pin that on any one driver, but thankfully they're the only 2 cars involved, and this will be wild to watch in slow motion. But for Jason Brophy, had a dominant race going and was probably in position to win this race had the caution not come out. So, I mean, again, the problem with the contact in these cars is that you get wheels hooked together, and it's so hard to overcome that. And just a vicious impact into the wall, and back up into the racing line goes the 44. So, end of the night for another one of the of your what's your team name, by the way? I don't even remember off the top of my head.
Gonzalez Motorsports.
Oh, that's simple enough to remember. Of the Gonzalez Motorsports cars. Yeah, like I said on the restart, I think I said 12 to go. I meant to say it was 22 to go, but now it's sub 20. Riley Thompson leads the way, and the driver that will be our points leader after tonight, John Poole, as they run, sits in second place. Andrew Wood, Cohen Evans, Victor Valley up in the top 5. Pitting now, your thought? I wouldn't think it'd be worth it now.
I think especially, well, with all the guys that are staying out, pitting is not going to be worth it. Once you fall back at some point, it just, you lose too much track position. So anything you would have made up by having fresh tires, by the time you get to the front, it's going to all be gone, trying to cut your way through the pack.
All right, we're going to jump to break momentarily, just to give me a break, because I've been talking since for an hour straight. So we're going to jump to break momentarily. We'll be right back with you for the restart. Stay with us.
To get the best result, It's all about ambition, hard work, and doing the right things right. In 1982, two Dutch brothers invented an automatic way to time RC races. The system of the company, called AMB-IT, was quickly adopted by pro racing series like NASCAR and IndyCar. Automated timing for mass participation sport events was also invented in the Netherlands by Champion Chip in the early 90s, giving athletes a personal chip time of their performance. In 2008, the two companies joined forces and MyLap's sports timing was born. We never stop innovating with state-of-the-art timing systems and digital services to enhance the event experience. With our X2 platform, we bring motorsports timing to a whole new level with two-way communication. Our event app and photo video create the ultimate event experience for athletes and fans with live data and personal content like photos and videos. SpeedHive provides a pro-level racing experience for amateur and club events by analyzing personal data. We capture performances of over 20 million racers and athletes every year and use live data to spark emotions. MyLap's. Experience progress.
"16 laps to go in the Fuel Racetrack Designs IndyCar Series, round number 8 from Fontana, California. Riley Thompson leads the way after a vicious Turn 1 crash involving the 44 of Jason Brophy and the 28 of Nicholas Johnston. Both those cars are retired and done for the night. Got Eric Gonzalez in the booth subbing for Finian, who is off racing right now on the Lionheart Retro Series from Sonoma. That is going to be broadcasted on the iRacing Esports Network. Should be up here momentarily. But Eric, coming to the restart here, we've seen this race delve from pretty calm to pretty chaotic. Any predictions of who you got to win this race in the next 10 to 15 laps?
Well, I'm looking at the regular guys, the guys who are typically up front. I think Riley Thompson has a good chance. John Poole, I know he's fast. I've raced with him a good bit. Andrew Wood, if he can pull it out, I think he's got a good shot at winning it too. So I think really anybody in the top 5 has a shot. I think Victor, I don't know how fast Victor is, but I think he's been up there a bit. So depends on how close they are. But at some point, maybe it'll kind of go back to the draft as they come to the green and Riley Thompson goes off into turn number 1.
15 laps to go at Auto Club Speedway, and Riley Thompson tries to run away as fast as he can because the draft is going to bring in John Poole and Andrew Wood. Andrew Wood trying to rebound. He's had such bad luck recently. Almost hung up the helmet a few weeks ago. He's only 2 spots away from winning in the Fuel Racetrack Designs IndyCar Series. Down the back straight, swinging the cars left and right, trying to break the draft. Cristobal Valenzuela in the middle of a pack behind him. Here comes Poole to the outside down in turn 3.
It's going to be a real sketchy move. We've seen all race that the outside lane just doesn't quite have the grip, especially as you get later into the run. Maybe on the restart it'll work out for him, but in the next few laps, that's not going to be a line that's quite so viable. Andrew Wood possibly making a 3 wide. No, he backs out of it a bit.
Yeah, Andrew Wood's just sizing up the competition right now, trying to pick a line. Which line is going to get him the best momentum to attack these leaders? They're busy with each other on the back straight. Thompson and Poole on the back straightaway, side by side. Wood trying to find a line.
Wood's just really trying to ride it out here to see if anyone makes a mistake, if anyone falls back a bit. Thompson and John get a little pretty close. They're going to wisely. Thompson is going to kind of back out of that, let him have the room there. John Poole has the advantage going into this turn. Andrew Wood going to the outside of Thompson. Thompson back down to the inside. This reminds me of kind of my line from season 1 a few.
It's a 4-car fight at the front of the field. Thompson, Poole, Valley, and Wood. Nose to tail, wing to wing, off into turn 3 now. 2 by 2. Thompson with the advantage, but Poole trying to carry that outside line. Andrew Wood's probably the quickest of these 3 right now, but he has nowhere to go. But look at the run that 23 gets on the front straight. 12 laps to go.
The track's definitely looking a little bit more gripped up. If you can make that outside lane work, it's going to be who can get the drag race down to the bottom, or to the start-finish line on that last lap. John Poole going to back out a bit, try and get the run off of 2 to Thompson. Thompson going to go loaded.
On the back straightaway now, line astern, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Poole pops out of line again. The track temperature was cooled off 11 degrees from the start of the night. That's where all this grip is coming from. It's dropped 10 degrees in the last 10 minutes. But Thompson clears the 23 for the lead. 11 laps to go now as Poole looks to the outside again.
Back to the outside of 1. The outside of 1 has a little bit more grip than the outside of 3 and 4. Thompson
3
and
wide.
John get real close. 3 wide as they go down to turn number 1, and they're going to back out of it.
3 wide for a moment.
John with the run to the outside of 2.
Valley trying to
possibly 3 wide to the bottom.
Watch that white line.
That might be a penalty, and that's good. That's a possible offense there. The admins are definitely not very happy with people going down to the white line. We saw that earlier on in the race with I think it was, I don't remember who it was, maybe Riley and me.
Yeah, it was Riley down to the inside on the front straight. Would have received a penalty, but he gave the spots up. 3 wide again for the lead. Poole in the middle, Valley on the inside, Thompson on the outside. 10 to go here at Fontana. The action is picked up, and we don't know who's gotten the best car right now, but here comes Wood trying to make it 4 wide, but he'll stay behind. Here he goes, to the right, to the outside. An incredible drive by Andrew Wood. A few weeks ago, if you had asked him, he said he might not even be here. But he's found a drive to win. And he's got to hold off everybody for 9 more laps, but Poole's going to slot in front of him as they cross the line.
Andrew Wood going to look back to the outside. Will he be able to hold it? No, he won't. John Poole is going to have the advantage as they go down out towards out of turn number 2 down the backstretch. Andrew Wood possibly going to be looking to the inside here. He's going to, no, John Poole's going to block. He's going to go to the outside and try to make that move stick. Really close there as they head down in.
Wheel to wheel, and another car that's popped into this group is Cohen Evans in 5th in the number 17. He's winless since Pocono last season. Behind him, all out of sorts of control, that's Victor Valley. He saves it side by side for the lead. 8 laps to go. I don't know if anyone's willing to give it up right now, but Wood is on a mission right now to finally put himself back in victory lane.
This is what the last lap of the race is going to look like. It's going to be pretty intense between Poole and Wood. It's going to be who can get the grip out of turn number 3, who's going to punch who or push down who. Will it be Poole who can get the traction, or is it going to be Wood who's going to be able to get just that little bit of momentum around the high side? It looks like it's going to be Andrew Wood as they come to the line this time. 7
to go now. Wood and Poole still side by side, beginning to break away from Riley Thompson in the 56. Riley Thompson still winless in this series, trying to do something, but those 2 leaders pulling away now by half a second. Poole now to the inside, almost clear the 32, but Wood will carry the momentum down the back straight again.
On the outside of 3 and 4, it's a little bit flatter than 1 and 2, but that outside line, you can arc it around there, and the inside's a little bit, as I said, flatter, so the inside has to lift a bit more, but it's going to be Andrew Wood going to the outside here. He's going to fall back, and he's going to have the advantage as they go down towards turn number 1.
Next time by, 5 laps to go, 10 miles left in this race when they get back to the start-finish line. Poole to the top spot. All he has to do to maintain the points lead out of this race is just finish where he is, and actually anywhere inside the top 15 or 10 will get him the points lead away. Is he going to get too caught up in going for the win and crash himself out, or will Andrew Wood be able to steal one away? 5 laps to go at the line. Here they come.
John Poole going to have the advantage. They make slight contact, look like a little bit of neck.
Oh,
there,
we're not done.
That's still going to do it. They're getting real close yet again as they go down towards turn number 1. John Poole going to stick it right inside there, and he's going to back out possibly. No, he's going to keep it down there. Let's see who has the advantage off turn number 2. Turn number 2, he clears them, but is that enough?
Not quite. Not quite clear. Andrew Wood still has the front wing to the outside right wheel of John Poole. Maybe he'll try to cross over in turn 4 here. Coming back to 4 laps to go this time through. 4 laps to go for the leaders. John Poole, Andrew Wood side by side as they cross the line. Riley Thompson in 3rd, Mahan in 4th, Victor Valley in 5th, but Poole clears the 32 in turn 2.
Well, it looks like he's just going to have the grip. Maybe Andrews have worn out his tires just a bit too much. Going to look to the inside. He's not going to be able to make a move because Poole puts an absolutely beautiful fade on him. But he's going to try and stick it around the outside. Has the grip here at the moment. Is he going to be able to hold the corner, or is John going to have that inside advantage? But it looks like Andrew Wood's going to have the run to the line.
6 miles left in Fontana, the California highway that never seems to end. Wheel to wheel in turns 1 and 2, side by side. Maybe a little bit of contact as Wood pulls ahead in turn 2.
Well, there's that aero push that we've seen all race. Even with the cooler temperatures, it's still very prevalent. And it's going to be John Poole to the inside here.
Caution! Caution's out!
Can he clear?
Caution.
And that's John Poole to the lead.
Oh, and it's Brent Jones. Or no, it was Liam Sheen. No, who was that on the...
Andrew Wood. Andrew Wood has the lead.
Andrew Wood has the lead. It's Philip Clark on the back straightaway, upside down. The caution is out. Now tell me, Eric, is that race over?
We do have, I think, green, white checkers enabled, but we are freezing the field at lap 156, so that does give the win to Andrew Wood, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, let's see, because I think we've seen some shuffling as John Poole gets back in line here. All right, so we'll see how this officially plays out. Again, we work with so many series. We jumped in late to this one. I honestly have no idea what the ruling is on this. So I have to lean on you, Eric, or lean on how this race actually finishes up.
Well, typically we don't have a lot of rules when it comes to having green, white checkers enabled, because we usually don't. It just happened to be that this time around we had one, but just by mistake by the...
Oh, you know what? I don't even think it's going to matter. I think we're out of time, and yes, we are.
Oh,
so it's going to be the end of the race regardless. So that is the end, and Andrew Wood, as long as he makes it back around under his power, then he will go to victory lane, and I cannot tell you how elated Andrew Wood has to be with the outcome of this race if it turns out this way.
Well, he's had a rough little bit. I think he's had about as much bad luck as I have recently, but I just have to. I feel really good for Andrew. I've raced with him and I've bitten with him up at the front, and it just happens to be that something he gets caught up in something, or that just something doesn't go quite his way. So it's wonderful to see that he gets this win, and I feel really good for him.
So as he comes on through, as long as he can get back around, he should be fine. Taking a look at the fuel situation, we're not even halfway through of a run because of that caution we had earlier. So as long as nothing, I don't like to call it too soon because the internet can always drop out on that last lap. But Andrew Wood could go to victory lane here in just over a mile and end the drought of the poor finishes he's been suffering in both the Fuel RaceTrack Designs IndyCar Series as well as the MyLaps Indy Elite Series that runs on Sunday nights. And this is a confidence boost that the 32 so badly needed. And he's going to get to go to victory lane tonight, and I just can't tell you how thrilled I am for him.
Yeah, and as I said before, I feel really good for him that he's been able to be here. I wish it was me. I have to be a little bit thinking back about my race, but if it was going to be anyone, I'm glad it was Andrew to be able to get that.
So John Poole looks like he'll come home in second. Riley Thompson in third, but out of turn 4. The checkered flag is going to be waving for Andrew Wood, and it looks like he is going to make it to the checkered flag. Andrew Wood ends the winless drought with a victory at Fontana. Andrew Wood wins the RaceTrack Designs IndyCar Series round number 8. And across the line they come. Your finishing order: Wood, Poole, Thompson, Mahan, Evans, your top 5. And celebrations almost certainly going to be held for this 32. Here's a look at your race results. Unofficial, of course. Cristobal Valenzuela was crashed out in the early laps, managed to rebound for a top 10 result. Rodrigo Munoz in the 09, his teammate, gets a 9th place out of it. For Nicholas Johnston, Jason Brophy, Eric Gonzalez, Zach Buchanan, and other front runners. Not the day they wanted, but Eric, as I let you go here, thanks for joining me in the booth here, and good luck next week at Kentucky.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much. I hope I'm going to need all that luck.
All right, we'll see you. Have a good night, Eric. All right, so for the 32 of Andrew Wood, perhaps an underdog story, a fairy tale for the 32. He goes to victory lane, and the confidence level is booming inside this car right now. Celebration, elation, domination. Maybe not domination for the 32 car tonight, but looking back at the seasons he's had in recent memory, this is going to be a feel-good story for Andrew Wood. We're going to be back in just a moment. Stay with us for interviews. Welcome back live to Sim TV here now with 6th place Victor Valley in the number 7 car. Well, I can't say that was the least crazy race I've ever seen. Kind of a wild one for everybody involved, but a solid 6th place finish for you. Just talk to us about your night and those closing laps in that last restart.
Yeah, I mean, I had the car to beat. I felt like, I made my way up from like 24th all the way up to 5th at one point, and I was really just going through traffic like it was nothing. I was cutting through like a knife through butter or whatever you want to say, and I was just on it, and I said, okay. And I was actually talking to my friend John, who actually, I don't know if he won or not. We'll have to figure it out. It's obviously unofficial right now, but I was telling him, I said, hey, I'm either going to wreck or win this race. And I kind of wrecked, but I saved it. I kind of feel bad for that. I gotta apologize to Riley on that. Probably messed him up a lot worse than I was, even though he finished ahead of me.
I want to talk to you about the long runs tonight because it seemed like over the course of the runs, it got trickier and trickier to pass. How did you overcome that, and how much tire strategy was involved in your individual strategy to make it to the end of the race?
It was okay to pass. It wasn't terrible. That is as long as you knew how to pass, and it's not trying to dive bomb it into 1 or dive bomb it into 4. It's actually just trying to make the straightaway longer than everybody else. It's almost like a dirt track race, but instead of using the angle, you're using your throttle, and whenever you're back 100% throttle, you're on it and you can get by the guys in front of you.
All right, well, hey, a 6th place result, a very solid finish for Victor Valley tonight. Victor, congratulations, and good luck next week at Kentucky. That should be a good race for you as well, so we'll see you there.
Oh yeah, thank you. I love the ovals.
All right, we'll see you. We're going to talk now with John Poole, who finished 2nd tonight in the number 23. John, obviously there's some discussion about the finish tonight, and we're still waiting on official word of how things are going to sort out, because at the moment of caution, it shows your car ahead by about a half a car length. But pending the finishing results, just talk to us about your night in general, because obviously it's still going to be a good result for you, because the points leader, Kite Bomber's Bot, crashed out early, and you finished, or still going to finish at worst 2nd. So just talk to us about your night as a whole and the rest of the season moving forward with that points lead.
So it was a really interesting race. Just was trying to be conservative overall throughout the race, just trying to bide my time. Finally, about before we got that long green flag run, I thought it was time to turn up the wick a little bit. Rode about 5th place all night. Then some bad strategy with the 28 and 42 bit them out, and then the 44 and 28 got into it, and I was just trying to keep my car clean throughout. So.
And I do want to bring up the moment of caution situation. Obviously, iRacing's got a system for determining who's ahead. So I guess I should ask, obviously, I guess you're a little skewed in this, but I'm going to ask Andrew the same question. Do you think that the call should be overturned just due to the visual difference, or do you think that it should be called based on iRacing's individual logic? Which system do you think is the most fair one in this situation?
Well, in any other circumstance, I would say the iRacing system would be what you should go off of 100% of the time. It's usually doesn't have an issue whatsoever, but whenever it's coming down to the finish of a race, similar to NASCAR, you should go back to the video and just ensure that everything is right in determining the finishing position. And yeah, that was I thought I was a lot farther back than what I was, but seeing it before this interview, I was like, wow, that was really bad on iRacing's part. So I'm really hoping that it does get overturned in my favor, but if it isn't a 2nd place finish tonight, you can't complain with that.
All right, well, at worst, it'll be a 2nd. We're going to wait on that review, John, but good luck to you, and hopefully, for your favor, it overturns. So thanks for talking to us, and congratulations on a very solid race.
Thank you, Kyle. Take care.
Talk now with Andrew Wood, who is scored by iRacing in 1st place. There is some discussion going on right now, Andrew, about the exact ordering of how it's going to sort out. But first things first, before we get to the elephant in the room, I want to talk to you about your night and your season as a whole, not only here, but also in the MyLaps Indy Elite Series. It's been a struggle this year. You almost hung up the helmet. It was very frustrating, but things are turning around, and you've got to be elated with your performance regardless of the outcome tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been looking forward to just getting like a top 5 or a top 10 lately. Every race I go into, no matter what league I'm in, I'm looking to just kind of bring the car home and I'm setting a goal for myself, and it's just not happening. So I got very, very kind of down on myself, and everyone goes through slumps once in a while. So I needed to find some sort of motivation to bring me back. So I kind of raced some other stuff recently and try to get myself back into the frame of mind that I need to focus on what I'm doing and just push forward to a good result.
It seems that obviously recently the good results have been helping, but when you take a look at the rest of the season, do you see this as an opportunity to improve your results over the course of the rest of the season, or do you think this might not be the consistency that we'll see from the rest of the season? I mean, obviously you had a good run tonight, but I guess what I'm asking is, do you think it can carry this throughout not only Kentucky but Watkins Glen, Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, and beyond?
Yeah, I really hope so. Like I just want to do my best to kind of learn like where I stand in this league, because this league's gotten so much more competitive lately. And that's part of the reason why I gotten down on myself, because I'm kind of used to being in a certain spot, but then you bring these other fast guys in here that really just know how to race, and it's kind of rough. But yeah, it's just a matter of kind of finding my place and being comfortable with what I know I can do, and whatever happens, happens.
All right, I got one last question for you here in a minute. I'm sorry, I'm just answering a question right now. All right, so I guess the question for me is, I asked John Poole the same question. Do you think on a last lap situation like this, do you think that it should come down to iRacing's timing and scoring, or do you think it should come down to the video if there's a discrepancy? Which of those two do you think is the most fair in your opinion?
I can't really give an opinion on this. Like, this is so similar back to what Indy 500 had in 2002 with Paul Tracy and Helio Castroneves. There was all sorts of delays with the lights coming on around the track and all sorts of stuff like that. And then they went back to the timing of the previous lap and such. It is what it is. Like I, I really don't mind whatever the decision is, but if the iRacing scores you as one way, it has to have some sort of like, background of what the positions were, because they're usually pretty quick on updating if you have to pass a certain car or give a certain position back. And I've been kind of screwed over in different races I've been in where it seems that like I was ahead at some point and I had to give a position back. So I'm not really sure what the result will be, but whatever it is, I'll be fine with it.
All right, Andrew. Well, hey, hopefully for your sake it goes the way that you'd like, but congratulations on a great run regardless, and thanks for talking to us.
Absolutely, Kyle. Thank you so much for streaming.
Absolutely. All right, so here's what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at this right now and determine exactly when the moment of caution was. So here's riding on board with 9th place Rodrigo Munoz, waiting for the moment of caution, waiting for the light right there. The green light goes off, and right there is the moment of caution with the yellow light. That is the exact frame of the moment of caution. If we go up to the leaders, you're going to see that John Poole in the number 23 car is clearly a full car length ahead of the 32. We'll go back and look at this from one more angle here. Just to get a better look, but here it is again. Keep your eye on that. The next green light after this, the green light is going to shut off, and the yellow light will come on. So green light is going to shut off, and right here, the yellow light is on, and that shows the 23 car out in front. But iRacing has scored the 32 car as the race winner. So pending, we're going to stay alive for just another minute and see if we can get an answer on exactly how this will be called. But Andrew Wood scored as the winner, but the video does not show that being the case. So hang tight. But here are your unofficial results for the moment. We're just going to go silent for just a moment as we wait for clarification. So to conclude the stream tonight, we're not going to have an official ruling on this for another little while. There's still lots of discussion to be had. This is a circumstance that I cannot say has happened ever on SimTV. So what we're going to do is we're going to call this unofficial results. Andrew Wood, your winner. John Poole, second. Riley Thompson in third, pending the decision of the race administrators, which you can find out about. Just stay tuned. Follow us on Twitter at sim_TV, and we'll deliver the answer later tonight or tomorrow, depending on when that decision is made. Thank you so much for watching. The Fuel Racetrack Designs IndyCar Series round number 8 is over. We'll again update you on our Twitter later tonight or tomorrow at sim_TV. Thanks for watching. We'll see you later.